This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me, I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
I hope you guys are ready for some spice today, baby. Oh, man.
At my expense.
How did Landon just start laughing as soon as it just started?
Shut the fuck up, man.
I just see him looking for the corner of his eye like this. He's like, are they going to do it today? They're not going to do it today, right? But we might.
I'm having a existential crisis.
So here is the topic of debate from pre-production.
Okay.
When you first start seeing someone new, what'd you do?
Just drop
You made a mess.
again.
Nothing. I just dropped something.
You made a mess.
These kids just laugh at anything.
Listen, I'm not that hard to please.
We know.
Yeah.
Trust
you
me.
don't even
we
get
know.
pleased.
All right.
We all don't need sex, Christian. Stay pure.
Jesus Christ.
Biology would state differently.
Nah, I'm just scared.
Okay. All right. So here's the topic of conversation at hand.
And this happened right before we were about to record.
When you start seeing someone new,
This might be the first episode where I start crying.
I just cry off stream. It's fine.
when you start seeing someone new, let's say very casually speaking, nothing committal. As a guy, we're gonna let Melissa off the hook. As a guy, is this a scenario where you find yourself pushing back against the let's call it like
Momentum.
commitment aspect of it, spending a lot of time together early on?
No, but that's not what you said.
Well, I'm
He's trying to be
getting
politically correct.
I'm getting to what I said.
That's not what you
Just let's start with it.
Because that I understand. Like, I can relate to that.
Look. Let's
what
get
you
to the
said,
shits.
I
Fuck all this
cannot.
politically correct stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to precursor this that I am very,
Okay,
I'm very
get
happy
up.
with the person I am seeing. And we're past this stage. But the shits have
What's going
the
on right
shits
now?
have that fly. When men are about to
Did this
start,
happen?
Listen, no, this I don't know. Listen.
allegedly.
When men are about to start dating someone else, they're gonna do a little bit of a fallback and a double check to see if there's like, you know,
A
the
double
person
dip,
the
if you
person
will.
that they were talking to before is, or like, you know, the person that they think is on the hook like is not better.
Okay,
I don't
so
know which one you are right now. I'm just saying that that's what happens.
Okay.
I'm so confused.
I have a different version of this.
But it's a version, it's a close version, it's a sister, it's a cousin.
No. Don't
It's a
be
who's
bringing
it's
the
a what's
family
it?
into this.
now
all
we're
right?
talking incest? What's going on here?
All right. Christian just seems to want to dip his pen into a bunch of different
he's-
ink.
What the fuck is a pen?
Exactly.
Your
Your
dick.
penis.
Your dick.
No, I'm not
Is the
dipping
pen.
anything.
You're
All I'm
double
saying
dipping,
is that
you're
this is
triple
very
dipping, you're
normal.
mixing
Okay, what I'm
inks.
saying is like you're portraying a scenario where you want to continue to get attention from multiple sources.
Don't put
Yes,
words in
that
my
is
mouth.
that is the
That's what you're
scenario.
understanding?
that's what you're
Okay.
hoping.
Congrats
what
on the
I'm
sex.
saying is whenever something new starts, especially if in my head it's casual, but there are indications that that's not necessarily or there might be some sort of imbalance as far as expectation
God.
goes. Rather than having a tough conversation, I immediately create distance.
And what do you do in that distance? Just
I take
jerk
a
off
trip
to yourself?
somewhere. Yeah. Yeah. I don't need to like. I'm not trying to compound
So wait,
problems.
time out. So if like if a girl texts you, you're just gonna be like, no, sorry, I'm seeing someone else.
No.
Are you gonna entertain the topic though?
He says he's busy.
No, wait. Let him smile. His smile's
look at
coming
this-
out.
look, he's
What are you gonna
smiling.
do?
Look
What
how
are you gonna
happy
do? You're
he
not gonna
is.
entertain the topic?
He's
No, I'm gonna
smiling.
entertain the topic.
That's what I just said.
But I'm not gonna go show up.
How about if she shows up? You're gonna turn her down?
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's all right.
That's-
Well,
I have a lot more restraint than you think
I believe
whenever
it.
it comes to those midnight conversations.
Also, you're emotionally cheating.
Yes, 100%.
There you go.
100%.
But there's no commitment, so it's not cheating.
Right. See, I'm safe.
And
but
we're
like, yeah,
I'm saying.
And we're back.
a lot of times it is just enough of like taking a step back, taking a breath. and
This
just
is like
being
way more normal than what you guys were saying pre-show.
No, it's because
Well, let me qualify.
phrased a different way.
Now,
Yeah.
if the new relationship that I see to be casual is something that I have solidified in my head will only be casual,
Yeah.
ooh, game on.
and I potentially have something else lined up that I'm
Oh
interested
my
in,
god.
that distance I'm creating is very
It's for
permanent.
a reason. Yeah. And how
very
often,
permanent.
Wait, how often? Like how much distance? Like 5 days? Like a week?
Yeah, 3 and 5
okay.
days. You know,
Okay. Just making sure.
you know what it is?
It's like, oh, my boys are coming
Actually,
into
I'm not
town,
gonna
or
blow-
like,
I'm not gonna
oh,
blow
we're going on a
myself.
trip.
I was about to blow myself up, but yeah, like I travel enough for poker. Where it's just like,
All of a sudden, you gotta go to Florida.
I gotta be in Florida for the next week. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
And then the text messages start to fall off a little bit. It's like, sorry, I've been so busy. And like, you know, it's a very passive aggressive way of ghosting.
Yeah.
That scares me, man.
Anyway.
I get to.
Welcome to dating in the millennium.
Sucks.
This is all.
But
scary.
women do this shit
I'm
too.
going back to being
Like
celibate.
women do this
Yeah.
shit too. You act like as if.
I went on a date with a girl.
going back
This
to
must have
being
been like
celibate.
3 months ago, 2 months ago, something like that.
You guys are men are fucked.
No, I just said women are doing this
Let
too.
me finish. Let me finish. I went on a date with a girl who like did all the legwork to set it up. She slid in my DMs. She set everything up. We went and got dinner, had a great time. We are hardcore making out in her car. She had work the next day. She's like,
bro.
would love to see this go
Congrats
further,
on
but
the
like
makeout.
I have to go. I have to go to work. I'm like, okay, no problem. Keep in touch for the next 2-3 days, something like that, and then just ghost. And I know what happened.
She
was
had
seeing
another
somebody
dude
else.
lined
Yeah,
up. That's what I'm saying.
100%.
Thousands.
There was just another dude that was neck and neck with me who happened to get her time faster.
Interesting.
You just live with it.
I've
Conrad,
always
isn't it
said,
nice to just
I've
be in a
always said
committed
women know,
relationship and
women
just a
know
long-term
who's next at
relationship
bat.
Don't worry
I
about
don't-
all
Like
this
they already
bullshit.
know.
Girlfriend.
Women know who's next
There's too
at
much
bat.
going
If you
on. You
fuck
got
up,
two different people.
if you fuck up, what? Go ahead, Landon.
There was just multiple
There's
conversations
multiple
going on at
conversations
once.
happening. Okay.
Go.
No, let them. Let
I don't think girls. I don't think girls know.
We're just chilling over here, you know.
Well, if you're
we don't
chilling,
have
then
any
other people
stress.
can't hear the other people speak.
Okay.
I don't think that girls know who's next at bat.
Shit.
I
I
just
don't
think
have
that
a
they.
I don't have a fucking
Right.
batting list.
Yeah. I don't think they know who's next at bat. I think they just understand that the bench is absolutely endless. And
It's really not though.
stop it.
It's not.
Stop it.
See,
I can't just go up to someone and be like, "Take your pants off."
Yeah, you could.
probably
You
could.
fucking could.
Look,
There
I mean,
are 200 people
Papa's
in the
in
chat
agreement.
right now that you could say that to that would willfully drop trowel.
and some of them are
but,
women.
But some of them are serial killers, and it's like Russian roulette. You
Okay,
don't know
well,
who.
don't qualify it with that you don't have the opportunity. Sure, it might not be the best opportunity, but it's there.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna just take any opportunity.
You're missing my point. If we walked up to 200 women, whether they were psychopaths or not,
Right.
we are not getting the same
Success rate.
success
Yeah.
rate as you.
Okay.
So that's what all your bench is endless.
What do you think your success rate is?
Low.
I'm not-
Single digits. Who knows?
Probably very.
I think 40 out of 200.
No fucking way.
No fucking
40?
way.
What do you think this is a swingers club?
Is that really high?
What the fuck?
40, so 4 out of 10. So you think
4 out
20%?
of 10 women. You think 2 out of 10 women are attracted to us?
20%.
No way.
No?
No way. Do you know
Attracted?
Come on,
yeah,
you're Matt-
maybe
you're Matt
if we're
Berkey.
lucky, but not just like type of thing. Like that's not how it works.
Okay, but very few people are.
No. All men are.
Are they?
No,
Yeah.
they're not.
Well, not you. You're
I
asexual.
love
That doesn't
Melissa
count.
has this. She has this like men are great. They don't.
We're
do
ruining
anything.
her. It's bad.
That's awesome.
You are. You're literally like, I'm so. I thought that men were just like
Dumb.
stupid.
Men are great once they're committed. Like once we're committed.
I'm
like,
turning
we're
to
good.
think that you're never committed.
No, that part's not true.
Based
like
on
once
this
we're in, we're in.
conversation.
You just gotta earn it.
You have to earn it.
You see?
What do you mean I have to earn it?
Wait.
You have to
Why
fucking
don't
earn it.
Why don't both sides have to earn it?
Both sides should.
Why
have
don't
to
both
earn
sides have to earn it? Why is
Yeah.
this a one versus the
Well,
other?
because
it. Why does the girl have to earn it?
Why is it a
to
mutual
be fair, I
respect?
agree way more with Melissa than Chin. It's very asymmetrical. We're the ones having to do the
You
heavy
are the
lifting
ones
here.
who have the less than 20%
Look,
hit rate here.
Here's what it is. We have to put in a lot of resources in order to acquire.
Earn.
Right.
Dates, money.
Women.
Not really.
Eh.
Let me finish.
I see the revolving door of the house.
No, this
Oh
is
shit.
this is all marketing, right?
Yo, stomp
From
on
a
him.
marketing aspect, men have a product that is very difficult to sell. So we have to
Yeah,
put a lot of
dicks are
resources
ugly.
into acquisition.
Right.
However, women have a product that's very difficult to retain. So you guys have to put a lot of assets into retention.
What do you mean?
Well, biologically, we're
Dumb.
distracted. We're very attracted to shiny objects. We're trying to
Okay.
spread our seed, right?
Right.
So retaining us is very challenging. But
I've
acquiring
never
us is
had that
very
issue.
easy.
That's because you're the best.
Well,
That's because you're the best.
Retention?
retention. It's all about retention.
Never had the issue of retention. I've had the issue of too
This,
much
this
retention.
is what I'm saying. Berkey and I are like we're on a similar page. Once
I don't think
Yeah,
so.
for
that
the fuckboy
attention,
page.
no,
It's called the
once the
fuckboy
attention
page.
is set, like it's set. It's just a matter of like getting that one thing down. That's it.
I don't know.
So it's
I don't
simple.
think this is all men.
Okay.
You guys think it's all men?
no, I don't think it's all men.
No.
Brian's great.
No.
Brian's like, you're mine. And that's it.
They're
Yeah, that's exactly how it
great.
went with Michelle and I. Same.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
No, it's
That's
not.
awesome.
I mean, what I'm hearing is just a bunch of game playing.
no, it's not about games.
It's courting.
we
It's games.
we are emotionally inept human beings.
Oh,
Not everybody, just men.
we're so babies. We don't know what we're doing.
I'm not trying to use it as an excuse. I'm not trying to use an excuse. I'm just saying we're the emotionally inferior gender. That's should
that's facts.
be absolutely clear.
We're just down
Yeah.
bad as,
Right?
as a gender.
Yeah,
We're just
like,
down horrendous.
I'm not saying that we can't catch up, and I'm not saying we can't do better. I'm just saying like it's very asymmetrical. Women are much more emotionally mature than us
I don't know.
No, that's
in
true.
general,
For
not
sure.
not at the extremes. Obviously, at the extremes, you're going to see both cases.
Yeah.
But in a general sense, like women are more equipped to handle.
My view of
Emotion.
men is so tainted after talking to you guys.
Don't let
No,
it taint
we're
you.
I think I might be gay now. Like I'm
I'm sure
what
this
I'm
shit happens in the
hearing
gay
is
sphere too.
so like gross.
Wait, why is it gross?
It's just like
Just fear of
so
commitment.
manipulative and gameplay.
No, there's no manipulate. Well, all right, he's different.
No, I didn't. No, time out. I'm not manipulating. All I said,
are.
all I'm trying to say is that the beginning stages of talking is very delicate, and things could fall pretty fast.
Yeah.
If and that's it. And like how he's saying is, there's a lot of shiny objects. And before you pick one toy or shiny object or whatever,
But then you're saying
you want to
there's,
look at the other
there's all
one.
these shiny objects, but then you also have trouble having hit rates. So then which one is it?
For me, that's not it at all. It's not about being distracted by shiny objects. It's about it's about understanding like what's necessary in order to build a healthy relationship, and just immediately feeling fatigue about that. Like if you have any level of indifference or uncertainty,
Right.
not even uncertainty. Uncertainty is the wrong word because there's always uncertainty. It's the indifference. When you feel apathy
Yeah.
towards a situation or towards a person, that feeling festers and grows so quickly
Right.
that it's much easier to just lean into the idea of like, well, I don't feel apathetic to myself, so I can kind of discard this new thing and just move on.
Man, for someone
Look at
who's
her
such
face. She didn't have that face when she was talking to me.
I'll be goddamned if somebody's apathetic about me.
Discard?
It's the wrong word, obviously, but you understand what I'm saying.
That's the word he meant.
You seem, Burke, you seem, for someone who's very, very, such a risk taker, you seem very risk adverse when it comes to relationships.
Honestly, you're right, but it's because, and this isn't good, but because it's still unavoidable. But I suffer, or not suffer.
Just take
that's
a
the wrong
chance
word.
on love, man.
No,
take a
stop.
chance on love.
Yeah,
I'm
let love
very,
in,
very
Berkey.
awful. I'm very awful with confrontation, and I'm very much a people pleaser. So I know that if it gets past a certain threshold, I will absolutely position myself in a dead end relationship.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't want to see people cry.
So you can never let it get to that point.
Right. And like my ability to be apathetic is so strong, and it's like one of my most negative traits that I try to work very hard on. But being apathetic towards like people and relationships is like something that is very easy for me to fall into. And the last thing I ever want to be a part of is like a lazy
I just
relationship.
think you guys are fuckboys.
No, we're not.
You speak for the
coming off
fuckboy
that
I'm not.
way
Like,
a
I'm
little
literally
bit,
dating
yeah.
the what? I'm literally dating.
I think you
I'm
guys
not.
speak for the fuckboy community.
I think once it hits a certain, once it goes past a certain stage, like most men are very good. Like I'm dating one person, not talking to nobody else, and that's it.
Well, yeah, you should. I would hope so.
No,
My
but I'm
God.
saying that's not always the case for a lot of people. Like,
Yeah.
like they're very like, well, until I'm gonna keep talking, and they do side shit and shady shit.
Yeah. I don't know. I agree. Like when I'm in relationships, it's because that apathy doesn't exist and I'm able to like fully commit. It's blissful. It's amazing. But there's a high
And then
No, there's no then. there is a then, but usually it revolves around horoscopes and shit.
Berkey's a relationship nit.
Yep.
That's pretty funny.
No, but like, yeah, I don't know. Like when relationships dissolve or fail, it's not because of, at least in my experience, it hasn't been because of lack of commitment on my side or something along those lines. It's either just like doesn't work, like we're not good together, or it's we're in totally different spaces or places. As far
Too
as
many
like,
games for me in this.
those aren't games.
This early stage is all games, is what you guys are telling me.
No, it's not games. It's about expectation management, which is very fucking hard to accomplish.
That's a salesman.
That's a college course.
Literally a salesman term. Sales is all manipulation.
No, it's not about manipulating. People are just generally extremely awful at communication. And, you can take a very truthful route and just be like, look, here's my stance on things. And that has a low success rate, but it's very successful when it works, if that matters at all.
I don't think many people try that.
I mean, I can attest. I've put in a fair amount of volume with the whole being upfront aspect, and it doesn't go well. Because it sounds like
It sounds like
It
you want
sounds
you
good in
bad.
theory.
yeah, but it also just comes off very selfish.
Yeah.
Of like,
I
hey,
want this. Yeah.
Hey, I know that, or it gets spun, right? Like it's very easy to have the conversation of like, hey, we just met, and I'm definitely enjoying spending time with you, and I'm super into you physically, but I don't have a lot of confidence.
But I think your personality sucks.
No, it's just I don't have a lot of confidence that this is moving as quickly as you want it to, or something like that, and that puts either people on guard very quickly, or it's just like, no big deal, no expectations
Right.
necessary, which
That
is
is
obviously
always a lie.
utter bullshit.
Straight lie.
Yeah.
That's
Because the
fucking
next text you
bullshit.
get 24 hours later is I miss you. And it's like, that's so emotionally jarring to me. Like I
would
miss
probably
my
just
family
like.
half the time.
I honestly would probably just be like, okay,
Big fact.
blocked.
The I miss you text is like every single time it happens, it's the most jarring thing in the world to me. Because it's just like, that is basically like saying, let's spend our lives together.
Especially if like you've gone away for 5 days and then you get the I miss you text.
No, at least that's reasonable.
That's,
It's
yeah,
like,
that's
that's
the
normal.
36-hour window where it's
Except
just like,
that you
God.
caused that 5-day thing to do something.
Yeah.
And now you get the I miss you. It's like really fucks with your head.
Anytime I get it. I can think back to like 15 different occasions where every single time it happened, I was just immediately like,
Brian, is that how do you relate to that at all?
He's mad.
Because you're a normal guy.
Yeah,
You're not
no.
a
What does that
fuckboy.
mean?
He's
You're a
not
normal
like he's
guy.
not a fuckboy.
There's
It means like,
Clearly-
yeah, I'm normal.
We're clearly in two
I'm
camps.
I'm in my 40. Well, I'm 40. I
Respect.
say I'm in my 40s. That makes me
Yeah.
older.
It does
I'm
make you
40
older.
and
Berkey
I'm
is too, so
in a
it's
committed
fine.
relationship, like most people my age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Like you're saying most people your age are in a committed relationship?
I think so.
But like
yeah.
when you were younger, did you do this double dip thing or whatever the
Bro,
fuck you guys
Brian
were
got the
calling
Not
it?
really,
Versace
no.
glasses.
No, I was never like that.
Normal guy.
I mean, yeah, when
right?
I had these glasses.
Yeah, so I'm saying, you have to put those glasses on real quick, Brian. Put them on.
This
Yeah, that guy
maybe
fucks.
did that a little bit.
That guy fucks.
That guy's double
For
dipping.
like,
That guy-
for like
that guy
a
fucks.
9-month window.
You're very young, dating a very like your dating pool is very young, also in Vegas. So like I don't think what we're saying is things that you shouldn't be aware of at least. Like it's just like if you're dating 27-year-old.
I don't
male-
date. I don't date.
I also think it just like works the other
So, like-
way, but you don't realize it, because basically what we're saying is that the person who has the upper hand / is the one who's less emotionally invested, is the one who is freaking out the most inside their head.
Right.
And I'm sure you can put yourself in
Wait,
situations.
is less the one who is more or less?
The one who has more upper hand is the one who's freaking out
I thought
more.
the one who is less would be freaking out.
Well,
less.
it's different. When I say freaking out with the upper hand, you're avoidant.
Okay.
Right? So like you're avoidant of the idea of long-term commitment because you're not confident. Like you recognize that you have the upper hand and you recognize like all these things working in your favor. The person who's clearly sacrificing hand is anxious.
Right.
Because they want the validation. They want to know that like it's okay for them to feel safe giving the upper hand to the other person. And like all this happens in a very short window because we
But
just
is it
get to
always like
sex.
that?
What's that?
Is it always like that? Or is this just an unhealthy thing?
This is why I'm so
I mean,
scared.
I honestly read the book Attached. I think that
I've
like
read it.
yeah, okay, so perfect. So I think like that made me hyper aware that I'm like this, and it made me want to actively attempt to change. But in order to actively attempt to change, it means that I have to avoid urges and things that are just presented to me in simple fashion, right? Like, so if I have any interest in somebody where I think that there's potential beyond just sex, I have to put off sex. And I have to actually court them and date them and actively pursue them so that I don't develop that apathy, which breaks once we have sex. Right? Because then the freak out mode comes in where it's just like, okay, that's a committing thing to her, but to me, it was not. And now I either have to explain that and hurt her feelings or drag it along and hurt her feelings. Right? So it's like, I think, you know, from a sociological, biological, psychological standpoint, we're wired in certain ways based off of like how we were brought up and the interactions that we've had up until this point that lead us into certain behaviors. It's not that hard to recognize that those behaviors can be bad. What's hard to recognize is like how bad they are and what's necessary in order to change. And like being an avoidant personality type is very difficult because it's kind of ingrained in you to just want to be alone. Which is, you know, a whole another problem in and of itself.
Okay to be alone.
Yeah,
you called it a problem.
Huh?
You called it a problem.
Well, it is. Like, for me personally, like, I'm very avoidant with intimate relationships, or I shouldn't say that, with dating, and I'm very secure with platonic relationships.
That's
it's very
how I
easy.
am. Well, sort of.
Yeah, so it's like, it's because of the expectations, right? It's so very different. You can have a very close, intimate relationship with a friend and then fall off the map for 6 months.
Yeah, and then you can reconnect and it's like fine.
And if they say they miss you, it's cool.
Yeah, right.
Like, yeah.
Because you know that there's no strings attached to that.
No, because you get weirded out when friends say that too.
I don't.
Yo, and women don't like if you're friends with another woman closely.
That's because you date fucking
possessive
women.
That's not true.
Bro, I don't know. That shit don't work in Spanish culture. Like, you just can't be like...
Yeah, because they're possessive as fuck.
Okay, so then
Fine,
what about...
whatever, that's how, like, I don't know.
How do you feel about a woman being close friends with a guy?
Depends, like
I live with 4 guys.
Yeah, but that's fine. Whatever, that's different. But like, if you're like super close on some like, oh, we're going to the movies together, like that's shady.
I mean, like, okay, if they cuddle, that's like weird.
Yeah, that's out of the
Like,
world.
I would never cuddle
Michelle,
one of my guy friends.
Michelle's best friend is a guy.
We're going on a trip.
Yeah.
We're going on a
But he's
trip
gay.
together, and like, there's only one bed. Like, fuck out of
Yeah,
here. What?
no.
Like, are you? I don't give a fuck how
You're being
close you are.
cucked. Yeah.
Like that. Nah.
I think the best
That ain't
part of
working.
this is Matt didn't even say the intro.
What intro?
Exactly. The OnlyFans
That was
intro.
the intro.
Yeah.
No.
That's because like,
You didn't say it was like episode 27 or whatever. Like normally
Improv.
we say that.
This conversation was too important. I didn't want to. I don't want to lose it.
That's why I enjoyed it. Thank you.
So I'm going to purchase a husband because all of this is absolutely terrifying to me, and I don't want to ever be in a courting process with a man ever again after this conversation.
No, you're in
You gotta be hopeful.
Listen, all you need to understand is that you are always in the position of power.
Yeah.
Always.
I don't know.
You just have to
I
like.
don't think so.
You just, well, you
Doesn't
just have
sound
to,
like it.
You just have to hold off on freaking out just long enough in order to leverage your position of power. But at the end of the day, you are what's sought after, not us.
Yeah.
So it's just like make us or remind us of that,
Right.
and then we'll come to our senses very quickly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh man, it all sounds way too scary.
God, I mean, like,
Sounds so
honestly,
scary,
like,
man.
life as a celibate person was just a lot more,
It's a good life.
a lot
Every
better.
year, every year, I swear that's the year I'm going to be celibate.
No, it's not. You don't really try.
Yeah, I do.
You don't.
No, you don't.
I do.
You don't.
Who votes that he actually tries?
Bro, this
Who
is
votes that he doesn't try?
No.
Quick pan of the room.
I try. I made it almost all of January.
A whole month.
Month? Dude, I went
went
like
January
11
without
months.
sex?
Almost.
Almost.
See what I'm saying? The problem is that sex got too easy for a little bit. Like, that's the problem.
You're big
Yeah, I
time.
went like a decade without it at one
Sex
point.
got too easy, and now it's like, well, do I
What?
really just want to have sex only with
Girls
this
got
one girl?
hornier.
It seems like it.
Girls are horny on Maine.
Yeah.
Not only
That's
that,
Landon.
like now all these.
It's more
I'm not
socially
even gonna
acceptable
get-
for girls to be horny now.
Yeah,
That's true.
respect.
That's what I'm saying.
It used to be
sex got
shamed.
easier. Men want sex, and now it's like, well, do I just want to have sex only with this one woman? And then it's like, maybe.
This might be a bad take.
I'm less like that. I don't need variety. It's
I don't need variety. I'm just
It
saying,
sounds like
is
you
this
do.
the one?
Does Chin need variety? Raise your hand if yes.
Stop. Yo, y'all gotta get me in trouble.
Variety neutral.
Listen,
Bro, I'm just real. Like I'm dating one woman, then that's it. I don't need the variety. Don't try to get me in
That's why I
trouble.
didn't raise
I'm
my
just
hand.
saying how it's. I'm just speaking for the people. Like,
Melissa, you know what they say? Variety is the spice of life.
Yeah.
like let's not try to front. Like y'all trying to front. Like everyone has their text threads is one fucking person. Like shut the fuck up.
You want to know the way I think about it?
Discount double check.
No, the way I think about it is like there are girls that I talk to on occasion where it's like the short window of time that we spend together, most of which is naked, is very enjoyable.
Right.
But the time outside of that, before and after, is something that
Let me ask you a question,
doesn't
bro.
make me very comfortable.
On some
right?
real shit. Wait, time out. On some real shit. How many nude pictures you get before you smash?
I'm not.
Oh my God.
Time out. I'm gonna ask you a real
I
question.
don't send
More
any
than one?
before
More
I
than one?
smash.
Is it often more than one?
No.
I don't
Just
send any
zero?
before.
Yeah, we'll pretend it's zero.
Those are for after.
Let me finish what I'm saying.
For all intents and purposes.
So
What about the secure folder? Does the secure folder get sent like
Apparently, I'm completely. I have no
You
clue
think
what I'm
the
doing.
guys are getting pictures?
Oh yeah, we
after
definitely
the
don't
photo?
want nudes after we're already like in a relationship. I mean, we do. Like, don't get me wrong, we appreciate it, but it's
those
like
are
because you don't want to
before.
send it to someone you haven't.
Yo,
No,
that's
that's
the only
my level
time.
of
It
dude.
seems like the
this
practical
is like the
stage
preview. Like
before
this is what you're gonna
My
get.
whole world is.
Y'all
just-
acting like
I'm having an existential
you're
crisis.
so
All right, look.
fucking innocent.
okay, nudes are definitely only for sexting, and you're not sexting with your girlfriend all that often
Why?
because you're just having sex.
Why not
Lies,
both?
bro?
I mean, sure, if there's a
Why
distance
not?
there, but if you're in the same city
this is the
or
real
whatever,
shit.
like,
We know that these
You
photos.
don't just get a random
Time out,
badge
bro. This
pick
has
while
this
you're
guy.
out with the
this
boy.
guy
Yeah,
right
I
the hands on the side.
I don't think so. No, I
I
don't think that
ever
happens.
want a random badge pick when I'm
I've
just out
sent
with my
plenty
boy.
of
Time out.
I've sent
random
plenty of
badge
Yeah, but it
pictures.
should be based off a conversation.
No.
That,
The
okay,
real shit that
nobody
we
wants
know.
that.
out of nowhere.
Listen, nobody wants that.
Why?
Because what are you gonna do with it?
Say looks good.
You just go, that's nice. Thank
Very
you.
nice.
Very nice. Yeah.
This is the shit we know.
I clearly I'm an alien. I have no idea what
No.
I'm doing.
The
My
real
stomach
shit
hurts.
I'm
that
doing
no one.
everything wrong. I'm sending badge pics after randomly
No,
with no
after's
context.
okay, but it should be because you're
No,
having
I
a
haven't
sexually
sent
charged
to be-
conversation.
Just to be fair,
Right.
I have not sent a random badge pic since I was in
No,
college.
we get that.
I don't
But
send
But
those
buttholes like all over.
I've
This
No,
is
I've
what
never-
we
I've never
know.
sent a butthole
This is
picture.
what we know, and this
wanna
is
see
what
that shit.
scares. I'm the men. Okay, is that we know we get these photos, and we know we're not the only one that got this photo.
No, that's not true.
Like, that's the
I
facts.
never double sent.
No, she's right because she's sending like post
Right,
post dating.
Right,
so
but
like,
we
this
know
is-
that this lingerie photo is
If,
not. We're not
if
the
I
only
take
ones
a
that got
photo
it.
and send it to someone, it was only for that person.
Okay, but
I've
that's
never
not the norm.
sent to the boom, 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 boom.
That's because
Listen. You know how you get caught.
Woman.
Men, listen to this. If a woman sends you a photo on the iMessage, save it, and then check the date in the photo in the photo
but
archive,
sometimes you take
and
it-
you'll see
No.
that this photo
No, that's not
was
fair.
No,
taken.
no.
You'll see timeout, bro. You don't even have iPhone. Like,
But that's not fair. I have a secure folder. I have a secure folder that's
You
titled
can
Good
save-
Dick Day. Okay? And sometimes you just get
you
the
have to
lighting
load
right
up.
and
also,
the
you're
angle's
just
good.
So those photos didn't go to another woman.
well,
then.
maybe they did. Maybe
That's what I'm saying.
Some of them might be just-
Everyone here is acting like they
when
are
he
so
said that
innocent.
shit, I was like, wait, you sent the same dick photo.
That's what I'm trying to
No,
say.
some of those.
So these
some of
women
these
all
are
the
just
girls
saved
are
for my
like, did you
future
get this
wife.
picture
Okay?
from me?
bro.
See, this is
That's what I'm trying-
this is why you don't send anything ever, and they can never use it
All
against
I'm
you.
saying, all I'm saying is,
Stay pure.
Listen, I've received the photo. I saved the photo, and then all of a sudden you check the date on the photo is mad old. I don't even bring it up to the girl because I'm like, yeah, whatever, game's game. Like, and that's it. God damn.
But sometimes sometimes you take one.
I'm just trying to put. I'm
Like,
just trying
sometimes
to
you
put
just take
people
something
on
for
that
yourself,
are like being
and
a
then you
little
send
naive.
it.
Okay, we don't take them for ourselves.
Well, maybe you
what
should.
it's worth.
Men ain't taking photos for themselves.
But man,
We are disgusting creatures. There's nothing about us without
It's
clothes
so
on that
funny.
is
Like it's
attractive.
always the same
For
angle.
yourself.
What the fuck is wrong with this kid? Why is he constantly out
He
of
has
his
to
chair?
I just got we literally gave him diarrhea.
I just got a Snapchat.
Landon couldn't take this conversation yet.
We started talking about sex one time and Landon
Yep.
just has
My
explosive
stomach
Like,
diarrhea.
I'm out.
Jesus. All right, anyway, what I was saying is that for a relationship to blossom, I put more emphasis on the time before and after. The sex is an added bonus.
Okay.
If I want to spend time with them
Yeah.
and like get to know them and have a like basically the same as I would with friends, like obviously more intimately, but like
Right.
I want to share, you know, deep secrets about myself. I want to talk about the world. I want to talk about you know, life and
Really?
yeah, that's the type of person that I want to cultivate a relationship with. But you got to break some eggs to make an omelet, Melissa.
The fuck does
You know,
that mean?
you got to spend some time in that little window.
Was he fucking you? What was that?
This is the hope. This is the hope. Once all that like dumb shit is gone, like a real relationship actually does exist. That's it.
Does it? It doesn't
It
sound
does.
like
It does.
it.
It does.
It doesn't sound like any way to start a real relationship.
It's just the beginning
Double
stages are
dipping
scary.
and
The beginning
breaking eggs
stages are
on each
scary.
other and whatever the
I
hell
don't
you
double
guys.
dip. I don't double dip.
What
but I
double
definitely
dip?
dip
What do you mean
out.
double dip? I haven't double dip. Double dip mean.
I don't double dip, but I definitely dip out.
Dipping in all the ink and
I definitely dip out.
I don't know what the hell's going on with. What is the state of men right now?
You're no different. You're no different. You just think you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I don't have a roster that I'm double dipping and sending good dick day
Stop
photos
highlighting
to.
Christian. He is different. Okay, he's different. My point is that
I'm not different.
You definitely
We're all the
have
same.
scenarios where like you enter into something that you are happy about in the early going.
Yeah.
And then after a very short period of time,
I just find
you recognize that this ain't for you.
That's true.
find it funny.
That's true.
I find it funny that camera has no Landon.
Because he's having diarrhea. We literally broke him. No, that's true. But that's just sort of like if you go on a date with someone and you're just like, yeah, it's like not really for me.
No,
That's
not
normal.
a date. Like
Like a
you
fuck.
hang out, you sleep together, whatever. And then after a short period of time, it's like as they begin to reveal themselves a little bit more, it's just like, oh,
You see the problem? Like you hang out,
I
you sleep
haven't really
together,
had that.
and then they reveal themselves. Like sex is too easy. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
yeah.
Y'all
So it
act-
should be harder.
I'm not saying all that. I'm just saying.
Should I throw the chastity belt back on?
Well, you kind of just punish yourself when that's the case.
Oh.
To be honest. Like I think that there's a healthy amount of shallow sex that can be had.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate that it's not always going to be communicated in a way where both people are on the same page.
Right.
Like a lot of the time, one person is going to be more invested than the other, and that's just the unfortunate nature of dating.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that, you know, sex is bad or that these short-lived
I'm starting to
relationships
think it
are
might
bad.
be. So based on this
I don't know.
little
Honestly, because the problem is that men are very determined creatures. So it's like if you play the holdout card, they just get frozen in that window of
Yeah, but
I'm
then
gonna-
once they get it, it's the same thing after.
Exactly. That's my point.
Yeah.
So you can make them wait 4 days or 40 days, but like once the egg is cracked, they're just kind of like, huh,
Oh, well, that's over with.
yeah, that's over. I have nothing to pursue and I still don't have feelings.
Yeah.
Shocker.
Yeah.
And then here we are.
And they'll trick the shit out you.
Landon,
Do tell.
were you jerking off in the bathroom?
He was having diarrhea.
My stomach hurt.
Oh, okay. No, somebody just implied it. I
I'm
was
sure
just
that's
curious.
exactly what I was doing. Yeah, I get emotionally charged.
What
No,
have you
my-
done, Landon?
What have I done? I've done nothing. Only time I've had a relationship, summer, 7th grade.
How was that? Tell us about it.
It was great. Batman: The Dark Knight Rises. That was the movie.
Great movie.
You had a
Filmed in
one
Pittsburgh.
movie date.
I can't believe that was
movie.
7th grade for you.
7th grade.
My
Summer of
God.
7th grade. My
Filmed in
stomach hurts.
Pittsburgh.
stomach
There's
hurts.
an amazing scene
He
in
just keeps saying my
Hinesfield.
stomach hurts.
I know the Heinz Field scene. Yeah.
Yeah. Incredible.
That was Heinz Ward.
Yeah.
It was supposed
Heinz
You know what's
Ward
funny?
was-
When we were in 7th grade, I think it was Batman Returns.
No way.
Oh no,
You mean the
The
Michael
one- it
Keaton
was the one
version?
with-
The
it was-
Michael Keaton version.
no, it was the one with "Kissed by a Rose" was the song from it.
Yeah, it was Michael Keating. Danny DeVito played the Penguin. Michelle Pfeiffer was
no, it was
Catwoman.
the next one. It was without not Michael Keaton. It was the next one.
Val Kilmer?
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe. Or George Clooney.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
A whole generation ahead.
Whole generation ahead.
Of Batman
now
movies.
Batman is Robert Van Patten,
I don't know who that is.
the dude from Twilight.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know what Twilight is?
I do.
Of course you do. All right, let's talk about. I mean, is this where we talk about
No,
women's reproductive
I feel like I
rights?
need a therapist.
We need a break.
To all the fuckboys in the
I'm
room,
traumatized.
stay safe out there because I heard they're banning abortions.
I'm traumatized.
No,
Rumor
we need a
is-
break.
Wow,
You
what
can't
a-
just go
what-
into that.
What a
Oh,
segue we got going on here.
That's crazy. You can't just go into that.
We really figured it out.
Let's calm down for a minute.
What would you like to talk about, Conrad?
Let's talk about some Phil Hellmuth refunds, you know?
Yeah, let's do
Okay.
that. Let's do that for like
Taking
a
the
couple
right
minutes.
line.
Quick.
He is still he's still a topic of conversation, of course. As of yesterday, Phil did finally come around and agree that he didn't handle the situation necessarily correctly. Even his apologies are so goddamn egotistical, man. It's like, I sort of agree with Scott, who's always mean to me, even though he what is this shit, man? Just one sentence. Slime, I'm sorry. Half the pot's yours. 8K or 9K getting shipped your way.
Yeah. Made a quick decision and
Yeah, whatever.
like whatever in the game.
Spoke to
In any
everybody in the world.
event, congratulations to Hellmuth. Finally did the right thing. Good job, Phil. We're all fucking proud of you, man.
It
Way
was
to.
a slow clap.
Yeah, he might deserve a slow clap on this one.
Those are some crispy claps right there, Brian.
Yeah.
So it does look like he's actually going to give Slime half the pot, which does rectify what we felt to be a pretty.
But do you think he's going to
negative
give him
situation.
half the pot like when he invites him to his home game?
Yeah, probably. There's always a tax, man.
Like it's always like, yeah, just come by.
So I was like, yo, these kids are rich. You can come to the game, man.
There
Fucking
is
give them a
definitely,
refund.
always a small amount of tax to be paid in
Bro,
these
that's how
situations.
that was the scheme that the New York City like games ran all the time. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, we owe you money. Just
Yeah.
come to the game. We'll pay your chips.
Yeah.
That
Smart.
was always the move.
Whether it was borrow money from other games,
Doesn't
send
matter.
somebody
Yeah.
to another game, one
They
way
always
or
paid
another.
you in the rake.
It doesn't matter.
Was Botez lending off stack?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much did she lend out?
Like 400,000
how fucking rich?
off her stack.
Bro,
Yeah.
that's scary. I've been in those spots before where like you're playing a big game with people that are pretty well known within the community and you know can. Matter of fact, the
You
most
loaned the mill ball. One
yeah
time.
the most prolific one was I played Aussie Matt heads up 501k.
Yeah.
And he only had 300,000 on him. And to give you an idea of like how much it escalated, he lost 1.7. So like all night, I'm just loaning him off my stack.
Yeah.
And you know he did get a hard vouch from somebody that
that built the pool.
was very good for it, but only for 800,000.
Yeah.
So there was still a couple 100,000 that I was just like loaning, and I wasn't worth that much at the time. I might have only had maybe $1 million.
Hey, you landed more than you're worth. That's
Only
strong.
$1 million.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, well, I
No, I
assume
know,
that the
I know.
hard voucher is good for it, but still, I'm probably lending like 30 to 40% of my net worth at that point. And it's scary, man. Like, it's so easy when you're in the game for somebody
Right.
to be like, yeah, just give me like, because they present themselves as super wealthy and like they have all the receipts to show it, and everybody kind of like soft vouches for them.
Yeah.
But like without getting an absolute
Hard
hard
vouch.
vouch.
Yeah.
And nobody in that game was going to hard vouch for anyone else.
Right.
Outside of like maybe the gamers, vouching for one another. Like I'm sure that Ludwig would vouch for Slime or something along those lines.
Right.
But outside of that, it's like you're at risk. And it may not seem like you're at a high risk, but even if you're talking like, I don't know, let's say 5% of the time she
Yeah,
gets
it's a
rolled for
big number.
400K, that's a big fucking number.
I don't think there's any way that happens. I think it's 0%.
Why do you say that?
I love the
I don't-
He's so naive.
The non-private game guys are just like,
So
that never
naive.
happens. Like,
No,
that
not
happens
that it never
all day.
happens. Obviously, it happens. But on something like this, I think it is a 0% chance that she gets rolled.
Why?
It's
With
not-
the lineup.
It's
no
so
shot
far
that she get
from
rolled.
0%.
Disagree.
Like,
It's
you're
not
so
zero.
Okay,
naive.
what percent do you think it is?
Massively
It's low.
disagree.
It's probably
low,
like 10 to 15.
10 to 15. You think? You think?
No,
one
No,
it's-
out-
it's probably less than that. I'm
you-
sorry. It's
bro,
less than that.
You think 1 out of 10 times she gets rolled for 400K?
Not 400, but how
But
about just
some amount of it?
Yeah,
how about
some
just
amount
a
of it, like-
percent? Because it's not like she loaned 400 to one person. All right, let me ask you a couple series of questions.
There's a difference.
What percentage of times do you think she gets completely rolled for 400? What percentage of the time do you think she gets rolled for one of the loans?
In this specific,
and what percentage of the time do you think she gets slow paid?
In this specific lineup with these people, like with this specific circumstance, 0% across the board.
I kind of feel like
0%.
that too because their reputations are on the line.
Reputation's worth so much more than that amount of money.
Someone could just slow pay you.
Yeah.
Like
that
slow
would
paid
also be
happens
that
all
would be
the
part
time.
of the reputation impact.
No,
wouldn't.
because she's not
100%.
gonna come out and just
If
be
Keating
like,
takes 5 months to pay, how's it harming his rep?
I think he paid at that.
I'm
Everyone's
not
saying
saying
he
he
did
did.
with
We're
the
just
saying
pay.
away, but
we're not saying
I
anyone
think in this
specifically.
specific scenario, 0%. In other games that aren't streamed and aren't like in private games, obviously that stuff happens all the time. But this is way different, I think.
I'm trying to think of like clear examples where
this has happened.
Okay, think of
where
a clear
this has
example.
happened.
Think of a clear example on a stream game with a lineup like this where
I
this
just
has
can't say
happened.
names, but like if there's at least 5 names that if I said them, you'd be like, these guys are billionaires. How on earth did that ever happen? But it's just like
It just happened.
because they can.
Also, it's just like
Like some of the richest people in the world are the most notorious slow payers.
On a
Yes.
streamed game.
Yeah.
and then they're not viewing
They
it
don't
as a
give a fuck.
stream game. They're
I
viewing
don't
it
know,
as
man.
another day in their life. This
Also,
is
generally speaking, like I think the only thing that your point is more validated by is the fact that like it actually happened on camera. Usually when you lend on the stream, people walk away. People walk away from the table because they don't want to do business like that on air.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about the specific instance. I'm not talking about the
Right,
norm.
I understand.
So I think it is 0%.
You think if someone slow pays her, what's she gonna do? She's gonna like go on Twitter and say like this person hasn't paid me yet.
No,
She's not
but
gonna
I
do
don't think that relationship ever happens where someone slow pays like that. In this specific scenario.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yikes.
So young.
Don't lend
That's
anybody
it.
money when you're in the
Dude,
games, all right?
I feel I want both of yours like at like just like both of you are so
I'm
like
gonna cry
so
tonight.
blissfully
I'm gonna
angry.
cry
It's
when
just
I
so
get
nice,
home. There's
bro.
no. There's
I used to be
no
like that.
Yo,
chance.
Landon's like handed a Twinkie to people that I was just like, what the fuck are you doing? He goes, that's my friend. I'm like, we're never seeing that money again. We're literally, and he always has gotten paid, but it's just like
The risk is so high.
Yeah, it's just like the risk reward here is like negative 99%. Where it's like you're not gonna get him to lend you money in the future, so
Yeah.
it's not even like favor clout or anything along those lines.
Yeah.
It's just such a negative free roll.
And the point,
by the way, a
we're
Twinkie is
saying,
$10,000.
The
Yeah.
point
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
saying is that it's not 0%. Like it could never be zero. It's
Green Twinkie.
it's somewhere between.
Well, it can never be zero because
Yeah.
that person could just die on the way home.
Yeah. That.
It's gonna be very difficult to get the family to honor a
Yes,
six-figure
man.
debt.
With the acts of God, it is not specifically 0%.
Nothing zero.
God, it's
You're
fine.
gonna give him
It doesn't
diarrea
happen.
again.
We're
Yeah.
just saying it's
Man,
not
I-
zero. That's all. And it's
Man,
it's,
I thought
she's
Melissa
taking
was
on-
Wow, man, lightning could strike and you could die and no one gets their
I
money
thought
back.
Melissa was gonna be chippy today, but Landon's
I'm
one.
not chippy.
My
I'm just
stomach is now
sad.
my stomach is now clear after all of this. I don't know, but I feel good. Listen, you just be a good person. I lend someone I knew money.
Oh, this
he
is
then
what he's mad
repaid the money. That's simple.
That's
You're,
what he's. That's
you're
what
a
he's-
mark.
Listen, man,
You're just a flat out mark.
I don't. You know what? If you see me and you ask for money,
I got
I might
you.
give it to you. That's about it. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Oh,
if you
man.
see me and you want to give me the whatever double dip ring around the
You
rosy,
want to give me a discount double
I'm
check?
probably in.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You want to shake me down for my net worth? I got you, homie.
Listen, we're all,
Pay me back when you're flush. Chino's like dialing him up as we speak. Chino's like,
Chino,
yo, you got
what's up, man? He's rich again.
Bro, remember the time Chino's like, he won $1 million, and he's like, yeah, that puts a little chip in my dad. He still owed him millions, bro.
Oh man.
Listen, we're
my
all flawed,
God.
all right? We all got our own flaws.
Landon's gonna set a booth up at the WSOP.
I ain't setting up shit. No one's getting any money from me.
fast.
No. Don't come to me about it.
Let's start charging some Vig both ways.
Payback when out of makeup.
Y'all ain't getting shit, bro. It's over. It's over, bro. It's over.
Half the time he lets 10K, I'm like, that guy's not worth 10K.
You just don't like the guy, man.
He
You
is worth
just
10K
don't like
after Landon.
him.
10K with the Landon 10K.
Bro, you just don't. You know what? That's okay. Not all my friends
He's
are.
worth
No,
11K
less
with
than 10K with
Landon's
Landon's
10K.
bro, listen.
He takes the 10 and immediately goes and hands it to a horse. It's like, all right, fire away.
Yo, that shit happens too. When backers go broke, sometimes they take loans to stake their horses.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
Because they don't want to lose the makeup from the horses.
Oh, right, because they can't
Yeah,
drop
because
them.
now
or
they lose. Now if they can't
Yeah.
drop the, you see, it's
Oh my
a really tough
God.
spot.
Wow.
They have to take out a loan to keep staking.
Yeah.
And the
horses.
average
Just a
trading.
giant fucking pyramid scheme.
Yeah, yeah.
The
Welcome to
naivety
poker.
continues, huh?
So you want to be a pro.
It is like a huge
Live
Ponzi.
MTTs, leverage trading at its finest.
It's just a Ponzi till you win a tournament.
Basically.
They're Ponziing until their horse gets out of makeup. That shit happens, man.
There's such a weird economy with that stuff. Just
Yeah.
the
Because
way
if you go
money
broke, then your
flows.
horses are off the hook.
I know.
They're just like, well, we're free
The
to go.
horses are like sweating that their backers broke.
Broke.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, it's fucked up, but it's incentivized.
It's like, well, if my backer goes broke, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm free of my 100K makeup.
Yeah.
Free at last.
Yeah.
I wonder what point, like, whenever you're backed, you go from like carrying a ton that your backer doesn't go broke to swinging the other way and just being
What's the
like,
number?
Yeah.
just being
There's a
like, if I
number.
fire this big buy-in 3 more times,
Jesus.
Wow, man.
it's when the backer starts texting you for average or for like buy-ins that you were previously putting on stake and going, all right, we have to sell 30% of this at markup in order to put you in the event. That's the second that they go, he's close.
What do we think? What do we think
Yes.
about that actually?
Think about
is
what?
that so? Let's say you agree to a backing deal
Okay.
for average buy-in of X,
Okay.
and then now the average buy-in has been decreased. Are you free to go?
No.
No.
It almost feels like you are.
If you didn't do the
There's an
yoga,
argument-
then you're
there's
going to
an
get
argument.
dropped.
Listen, man. You just
Well,
have to
no.
do the frog
okay,
portion.
so let's say
Is
you're
it
being staked. Wait, time out. Let's say you're being staked for 25Ks. That's
Yeah.
the agreement.
Yeah, yeah.
And now all of a sudden you're playing 5Ks.
Right.
Well, it's different.
Like that seems wrong.
Is it because of the backer's bankroll or
The
the player's
banker.
abilities?
Doesn't matter.
I think there
Those
needs to
are
be. Hold on.
that's different.
I
That's
think
a
there
totally
needs to be
separate
a
deal.
redistribution of the deal that ends and then restarts with a lower ABI.
Yeah, it's different if you agree.
But then you're free of that makeup. No?
It depends on the the circumstance of renegotiating the deal.
'Cause, like,
Okay,
dropping-
what he's saying doesn't make any sense. If you had agreed to a high stakes backing deal, and then they all of a sudden after the fact want your low stakes action that you were otherwise keeping for yourself, you're just going to say no.
Oh, he's just saying that.
So it's either
Well,
put me in
no
high stakes
agreement.
stuff or it's absolved.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but that's only if we've already previously agreed that like I have all buy-ins under the buy-in that we agreed to. So if I'm buying into 10Ks 100% on my own, you don't suddenly get that action retroactively.
Well, yeah, but that's what usually happens. No one like
No.
backers that have 25K action are usually like the guys that are being staked are keeping their own 1500s. They're not putting that on
Right.
stake.
So there's never going to be a scenario where the backer who's putting them in 25Ks is going to get a 1500.
Right, but how about 5K? Like,
It should already be
it's just-
outlined
right,
in the
right,
deal,
right. Okay.
right? Like there should be no
Yeah.
level of
Like
confusion.
minimum
here.
buy-in is this.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah,
Right,
whatever
right.
they
Yeah.
whatever they decree or declare the minimum buy-in to be, it'll always just be that, even if they want to scale you down.
Yeah,
and then all that happens is now you have to sell more, right? So if before they were taking all the 25K
Should
action,
they be able to ask to
Decrease?
sell?
yeah,
It seems
Because
like
now it
if,
hurts your
if they're
EV.
dropping your stakes due to their own financial situation, it seems like that's not right.
If they're asking you to sell, right?
yeah,
That decreases your EV.
Yeah.
You could have just sold
right.
instead of
yeah,
having
you're,
your back
you're not
paid,
playing a lower average
Exactly.
buy-in.
right? So that
That
feels-
becomes a different topic of conversation, I guess.
And I know it happens, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying, what do we think?
Well,
about
it's
it?
definitely not best business practices.
Yeah.
But it probably becomes one of those things where like now horses try to negotiate a buyout to get under new backing. Right. So it's like, okay, well, if you're going to drop my average buy-in by 75%, then perhaps I can just get a new backer to pick me up and then pay you X percent
Right.
of
So
my
Yeah.
makeup.
makeup. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
If
Yeah.
you have an
Or, like,
ABI of
X cents on
25,
the
It is
dollar.
weird too that it's like these financial agreements that are like involving
Hundreds
of thousands of dollars, and there's no written agreement or anything usually. Like, have
There's
you ever
just
been
never-
in a
Poker
deal where
players
there's a
are
written...
notoriously awful
It's
at business
crazy.
ethics
And lazy.
or business
There's no
practices
written
rather.
agreement or anything.
Yeah, but
It's
it's also like on the backer, like stables operate differently because they're kind of long-standing businesses.
So when people are in stables, do they sign something or?
Usually,
Yeah.
especially like if they're CFPs,
Gotcha.
usually you have to sign a contract that will basically declare when you get out.
Right.
But when you're talking about like just people who tend to back, they are just notoriously bad at this in the sense that they don't create structure for themselves and say like, okay, you as my horse will have X amount of liquidity available to you. Once you cross X, then we will shift into plan Y.
That's never spoken
Right?
about.
Like-
No.
Yeah.
Like they don't talk about the dilution that will take place throughout where it's like, okay, well, once you lose a certain amount, then we're going to have to restructure in such a way that, either you're playing a smaller average buy-in or we're looking to shop your makeup, whatever. Like they don't talk about the exit plans for when the horse is winning. Everything is just like very handshaky of like, I trust you. You have a win rate. Get out there, put in some volume. And then whenever we both agree that we've made enough money, we'll go our separate ways.
Yeah.
It's like, that's very optimistic
Yeah.
and rarely comes to fruition.
0%.
Man, Landon throws around the zeros and hundreds the way I used to at that age.
Mm-hmm.
Everything
It
was
happens.
100%.
People
0
do
or
win
100.
and stuff. It's just like the negative side is just like really messy, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be.
Well, yeah. But the reason why it is because it's unpredictable.
And
Right,
there's nothing
like-
set in stone so like there's
But
no
it is
agreed
kind of
upon
predictable,
contract.
bro. Like if you just look at a variance calculator and you're just like, hey, these downswings are very likely to happen.
Yeah, but
You know?
but it's the time factor whenever you're talking about live poker that makes it so unpredictable in nature. So it's like most people are making commitments based off of time and resource rather than off of volume and expectation.
Yeah.
So the issue is that they're willing to dedicate X amount of time with Y amount of dollars towards a certain player, but they don't really take the initiative to figure out like what that translates to in volume or what it needs to translate to in volume in order to lower their risk of ruin. And they don't really consider what happens then off the back end if they hit the extremes. Like say somebody just goes on a 100 game downswing and now all of a sudden like they're way past the max that you were willing to fire on them. They just start making emotional decisions chasing good money after bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think people play differently when they're like heavily in makeup?
Buried? Yes.
A lot of people, yeah.
They have to. I mean, not that they have to, but a lot of people do.
It's hard not to as
It's
a
just
human.
like, well, how I look at it, at least when I was working with Elliot, I remember I was not even in a lot of K makeup. I was like probably like 30K makeup. And I was like annoyed that I was in 30K makeup. But it's obviously like absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
But
What stakes were you playing?
it was like one case.
Oh, okay.
But like, yeah, like I'm stuck 30 buy-ins.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
still annoying,
Yeah.
right? But at the time I was like very new to make MTTs and I was like, this is annoying. And he's like, well, man, like if you can win first place in one tournament, then you're fine.
Yeah.
That's enough makeup.
Right.
So I'm like, so I could get in 150K makeup? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm fired.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's how it works. But if
you
you're
just
average,
had to like shift your mindset.
yeah,
on
it shifts your mindset. But I could see if first place doesn't get you out of makeup, that sucks.
Yeah.
It's like you literally could just win a tournament and you're still
You
in
don't get
makeup.
anything,
That sucks so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different though. Like I think the more studied you are,
changed.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like
it's
I
changed.
think Landon would have like no problem grinding an $11 tournament.
Well, no, and
I
also
literally
backers.
the other night, like 2 weeks ago, he was on the couch and his WSOP balance was low, and
No,
he's like,
it's changed,
"I'm
and
in the
this was-
$11 rebuy," and he's like sweating it so hard.
I just wanted
He's
to
like,
win.
"Oh, I gotta win this all in. I don't want to reload on WSOP."
I just want to win tournaments, man. I don't care
But it's
about money.
different though. It's different. His situation is completely different. If
Yeah.
you're talking about like a mid-30s MTT live
Yeah,
grinder,
yeah.
Right.
like wins the Venetian for 150K, still stuck in 30K makeup, or wins the 150K, breaks even in makeup, and now the backer drops him
Right.
because he just cleared makeup.
That's the other problem.
That's
It's like
fucking
such a
sucks.
negative free roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a suck spot. Once you get out of makeup, your snap dropped.
Right.
Like that sucks.
and then
So
you have to
it's-
figure it out from square one.
Right,
basically.
exactly. So these are things that need to be all spoken
That's why I think it's
about.
important
Yeah.
to structure differently. Like the way we'd structured Landon's deal was it was a business. We didn't have the opportunity to drop him if something like that occurred, right? Mm-hmm. So effectively, we basically, I mean, in general, what would happen is a player would come to you with a pitch deck, right, of their quote unquote startup. But in this instance, like, you know, I basically wrote it for him, and he would just come with this structured deal where he himself is the business entity, and he's in a seed round trying to raise X amount of dollars to play a certain amount of volume at an average buy-in level of whatever we agree is reasonable for the number, right? And basically the way it works is as long as the stake is even or up, we have no opportunity to pull our money.
Right.
Right? Just like whenever he's losing, he has no opportunity to quit us. Right? So the power is in the hands of whoever the current state of affairs favors the least.
Yes.
Right? And I think that's the proper way to do it, because he's the CEO in this instance. And
you're the board, pretty much.
Yeah, and it's like if he's operating a break-even business, there's absolutely no way that we as the board should have the power to just defund him. And the same holds true where it's like if he's losing, then he as the CEO has a fiduciary responsibility to us where he can't just walk out on his own gig.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I mean, that's just like very common in business practices, and it's what's drastically lacking in the way that staking structures are being built today. It's like, first of all, there's a high level of trust necessary whenever you're dealing in a cash industry like this.
Especially cash stake backing.
Right, yeah. It's almost impossible to stake somebody in live cash.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because the win rates there are massive.
You really need to like be able to trust that person 100%.
Right.
I've thought about it too. It's just like, oh man, like these games are so good around town. If I just have a stable of 5, like I'll just be rich. And I'm like, but how much are they going to steal?
Well, no, when Berkey said that, like I was shocked to hear that usually when someone's backing someone for cash, they
25%.
like they're just like accepting a 25% likely, like that they're likely.
You should just
going
assume that,
like that's crazy though. Like if
yeah,
someone's
but like
staking
it's just
you,
like
why would you steal from them?
Well,
It's just like similar to
Just
when,
like negligence. Like by,
no. It's
general
like,
business practice with an all cash business. So like
And
if you're
also-
talking about, go ahead.
No, I was going to say like this happens even at like big corporate level. Like
that
Target
was what I was gonna
predicts
say.
like X amount of money every year is going to be stolen in merchandise.
Right.
And they account for that.
Right, but
Right.
this
So this
is
is the
different
same.
because it's like a one-on-one deal.
Yeah, but as a
but it's
backer,
still-
you should look at it a little like
Am
like
I being
business.
naive?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So
What
the
I'm learning
irony
is I'm a little bit idealistic.
Well, the irony
maybe.
is at the corporate level, the percentage is much lower because 20% theft would run Target out of business.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's also like a fuck ton of theft when you're
Yeah.
talking about total inventory.
Right.
so
Right.
much money.
So it might be
Seattle.
like
Right
it might be
away
like 2 or 3%, but that's because they're already at scale.
Right.
In a one-on-one scenario, 20% is not that much. Like if you give a horse a 500K stake and assume that over the length of the stake, call it 3 years, he's going to steal $100,000. That's not that shocking,
That's
right?
wild.
Yeah,
though.
but like think about how it happens. It's not necessarily like cognitive theft, and it's also over the aggregate. You're gonna have
Okay.
plenty of horses that steal
this
nothing.
isn't like an organized thing. It's like they lose. What do they lose it? Or what
Well,
do they
no. But some of that will happen. But
Yeah.
basically, like say you have 5 horses, 4 of them may steal nothing. 1 of them may roll you for the entire stake.
okay.
That's gonna equate to the average of 20%, right?
Right.
But also you're gonna lose, and you could just call this expense, but you know technically
Yeah, I know what you're
at
saying.
the technical level it's petty cash theft. But like massages, food, valet, tips, travel expense. Like if you don't have something incorporated where all of this is a free roll to the player to begin with,
Yeah.
rounding errors, right?
I mean,
like,
massages doesn't seem like something that should be covered by a stake.
Absolutely.
no,
not.
but like
Well, sometimes it is.
Absolutely fucking
Sometimes,
not.
well, this is the
I
thing.
don't think
the,
I've
the private game is seen
even
as very
gotten a
different.
massage.
it's so different.
You have to pay these massages.
Oh, you like
you
have
walk
to
into
get
a private
one?
You
game.
have to tip.
No,
you
no,
have
no,
to.
that's different. That's different. I
Okay.
thought you meant like a massage for yourself at the table.
That's
like
what I
It is a
thought.
massage for
Yeah.
yourself at the
No,
table.
No, like in a tournament
Like
setting.
in an open game, he means.
Yeah, but like, whatever,
We're talking
what-
about cash game staking.
Okay,
Yeah, but-
sure.
but
like that's
also-
obvious, that has to be on the stake for sure.
But also, like the
For private
line
games,
is
if
super
it's
blurry
expected
there.
from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I walk into a private game and I get my head rubbed immediately the second I sit down, not because I
Congrats, man.
asked,
Congrats on
Which
getting a
head?
nice
Which head
rub.
was rubbed?
not because I asked, not because I asked, but because it's a byproduct of like funneling money to the girls that are there.
the
And
environment.
Yeah.
snap down $100. I'm stuck 100 before I even sit down.
Right, but
A
the
Pepsi
EV, the
is
EV of the
100.
game itself is worth so much more than that. It's just a necessary recompense.
Fine,
right?
but like over the course of a year, that's tens of thousands of dollars. Like, what do you think the average 2-5 player tips a year?
lot.
Like
A lot.
For
depending on
dealer
playing how many hours a
and
month?
drinks or whatever.
Say they play
What are we
1,000 hours a
tipping?
year.
Dealer?
1,000
not
hours
even
a
a
year,
lot.
and they tip like $1 a hand, so to speak.
Yeah.
$1 a hand, $1 a drink.
$1 a hand that they win. Don't
$5
just,
at the valet every
Just
day.
get your own drinks, man. Damn.
Yeah.
But anyways, probably around like $1,000 to $2,000.
How much?
$1,000 to
I
$2,000.
think it's
No.
way more
1
than
to
that.
2,000.
Way
Landon, think about it this way.
You're winning
Okay,
on-
say
If you
say
play
they
the
tip,
top- You're
winning
no,
one
say they
hand
play
an hour?
200. Say they play 200 sessions throughout
Probably
the
2 to
year.
3.
Okay, so just say they play 200 sessions throughout the year, right? And they tip the valet $5. That's $1,000 right there out the door.
I'm not talking about valet.
Just-
Why is valet? What is
That's
it?
part of it.
You just
That's
go
part of
what do you mean?
everything.
You just
Well,
park
do
the
you
car.
win one if you play 1,000 hours? But
You just park the car.
You do, but it's free.
I'm
Landon,
just saying-
easy. This is so easy.
A lot of people
If you play
valet. It's
1,000
safer,
hours,
it's-
how many hands per hour do you think you win? You win one hand an hour?
So if you play 30 hands in an orbit, right? You probably play 30 hands an hour. You think playing live?
Probably 40, but sure.
40 hands an hour. I mean, I probably win like 4 hands, maybe. It depends. How is it full ring or is
You're
it?
gonna
like
win
a
more than 4 hands.
It's important. Is it a full ring game?
On
Let's just
average,
say
it's
it's
7
Say
handed.
8.
If it's 8-handed, you're probably winning like 5 hands an hour.
Okay, so 5 times 1,000, and you only tip $1
That's
every
$5,000
single
Yeah,
time.
right
like
there.
you're not gonna only
a lot.
tip $1.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you win a
Yeah.
5K
It
pot, you're not
adds up.
tipping
Exactly.
$1.
It really adds up.
I tracked it throughout all of 2010, 11, and 12.
Many money.
And I averaged 20K a year
That
In
makes
tips.
sense.
in tips.
Yeah.
10, 11,
Including
12.
like
What were you playing?
massage stuff.
510.
Okay.
You're including like everything, right? Like
Yeah.
valet, like
Yeah, yeah.
drinks, and
But not
yeah.
not food or anything.
He
Just
never got
just
a
tips.
massage.
Just tips.
He
Just
never got
tips.
a massage also.
Right, but even if I did, that would be an aside. Just
Okay.
tips alone was 20K a year.
Yeah.
What are you talking? You paid 20K.
Just in tips.
In tips.
Because you're not like
That
if
makes
you win a
sense.
pot, like you're not. It's rare that you're only tipping $1.
And also, you're probably winning more on average than you
You
realize.
shouldn't only tip
Like in
$1.
soft games, you're definitely winning more than 2 hands a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 100%.
You win a big hand, you throw 5.
Yeah, you're gonna throw a 5 bird here and there.
Trust
Maybe
me,
you
and I
tip
get
the
it.
floor,
every
right?
Every time
You better be
I
tipping
play
floor.
every
If
time I
you
play
want to be
Exactly,
taken care of,
yeah.
you better tip the floor.
So,
Yeah.
so now let that
Okay.
translate to bigger games because once I started playing private, I haven't had a dollar chip on the table in 10 years. So it's like now that tip rate is getting 5x
The minimum
per
tip
hour.
is like
So,
$10 or whatever.
what we're getting at is a
$5
lot of
on
Five.
average probably,
Yeah.
but you're still throwing 100 bird every now and again.
Is this part of the 25% that you don't think exists?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm saying that this would be qualified under. I don't want to call it theft. That's not fair.
Business tax.
It's,
Yeah,
it's
let's call it a
operations.
business.
It's
Operations.
Well,
tax, right?
Operations, sure.
But
Yeah.
like, and also just like rounding errors, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you're staking in cash games and they win, you know,
11.
$1,745, that's probably going to be 1,700, right? And
Yeah.
that adds up.
Yeah.
It's just like
And additionally, the EV of the spot in itself is worth enough to take on this sort of
that's
thing.
the whole point is that your
right?
win rate
like,
as
sure,
the backer
you're
is
giving
so
away
high.
30K or whatever, but the spot might be worth 250K.
Right.
It's just a massive spot where like these numbers sound like a lot, and they are in like practical terms, but in the situation in the spot, it's worth more.
Yeah, I mean, it's just very difficult
Well, it's worth less
to.
because you're making
It's very difficult to remain diligent to the point where you're nickel and diming your horse. So you have to give them some luxuries, and then on top of that, people are going to go beyond that and take their own freedom to exploit.
Do you think that when, let's say, you're backing somebody for cash or whatever, do you think they should record their tips and such?
No.
'Cause
This
I don't
is how
think
I look
so.
at it.
I just
I don't think-
I
recorded
look at
in
it,
like
if I'm
my
a back
cash
some-
out. It's just included in like it's like I bought in for this much and cash out for this much.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's just sort of
And I'm
included.
just
Yeah,
for you to back someone in cash games, especially live cash, it's simply it's more trust than skill.
Yeah.
Like they could I have to trust them to the point where I'm like, okay, like I don't need to know every little thing. Just tell me at the end of the week how much you're up, how much you're down, how were the games, like, and what your thoughts is going into the next week.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Like if I have to worry that this person's taking
right.
money,
Then it's
I'm
not
done
worth
with the
it.
deal.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. Like, because cash games it's a different beast. It's not tournament staking.
The tournaments, you have a,
Yeah,
you know,
it's like I
a
have
set,
receipts.
there is a number there that is on piece
Yeah,
of paper.
right.
Yeah, I
they're
was-
still rolling you for amounts, but it's way less.
Yeah, I was more concerned about like if you're playing a tournament, if you're back for like tournaments or whatever, and you get a massage, like the stake doesn't cover that massage.
No, and it
No, but you
couldn't
have to-
because there's no way for you to write it into
Yeah.
into the receipts. But
Right.
like, there's definitely still some rolling that's going on
course.
at the tournament level, whether they're like sneakily overselling or they are, pocketing multiple buy-ins when they're only in for one. Like, it's a lot of due diligence. The difference is that there's a bigger paper trail with tournaments.
Yeah.
Right.
So backers can do more due diligence if they so choose to do so.
Cash, it's like someone can just win 5K and say, oh, lost 5.
Right. It's basically the difference between like a weed dispensary and a restaurant. A weed dispensary is going to be mostly cash, and you're going to have a lot of petty theft.
Yeah.
Whereas like a restaurant is going to be mostly credit card bills, and you're going to have a big paper trail, and you're going to be able to find out if there's petty theft taking place.
Yeah.
Bar Rescue was like always one of my favorite shows, and every third or fourth episode, there would always just be like this discrepancy in the numbers where
This is what made you.
This really gets them going.
This is riveting stuff. Oh man, there's a discrepancy. Let's see where it's at.
Well, so the discrepancy wouldn't be an actual theft from the cash register. It would be an overpouring. And they would overpour by like such large egregious amounts that they're just burning profit margin.
Oh, like how much money is actually
so he would bring in these companies, these third-party companies, to like weigh the bottles pre and post and compare it to the sales and stuff like that. And he would just like total it up and be like, you guys overpoured $850 in alcohol last night.
Okay, I see.
So it's like,
I wish you were gonna say like $850,000.
That's technically theft. Yeah, but like when you're operating 365, that adds up quick.
Or they're like taking
multiple
shots
bars.
for themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like all that kind of stuff adds up to petty theft the same way in a cash game, taking liberties with massages and tipping and food and all this other stuff that you want to provide to your horse. But the lower the stakes that you play, the more impactful to their bottom line it actually is.
Yeah.
Well, for the restaurant thing, call it the overpouring and money like that. Like, isn't that part of like call it a restaurant bar service to like
some
provide
degree,
an entertainment? Like,
there's a percentage
lot,
that you absorb as the owner.
right?
Again,
But
similar-
it becomes egregious at certain points, right?
Right.
So like if they're overpouring by 35%, you can't win.
Right.
You're just getting
similar
fleeced.
to
It's basically
cash
rake,
game,
right?
It's the same thing. It's similar to cash games. Like if you're staked in a private game, like the backer is gonna expect you to not be a nit with tipping. Like of course you have to do this.
Definitely,
Yeah.
Same thing if you hire a bartender, like you expect them to like have it. You don't expect it, but you're not
Right. You
surprised
can't expect
if they
perfect
have
numbers.
a shot with their best customer.
You can't
Or
expect
like
perfect numbers.
if your horse is in a private game, you don't want them to like knit out on getting a massage or whatever, make the
Right.
environment weird
Right,
by
because
like
the EV is higher if
because you
they're
want them
able
to keep getting
come back.
invited back.
100%.
And,
Right, or like if they want to put a straddle on, and they're like, oh, like you have to put, like, oh, like I don't want to do that. Like that never happens, right? You just have to be accommodating for the game, even though you're backing them for one, like call it a 1-2 game, like a 1 or 200 game, and the 400's on, and it's just a bigger game. You expect to take that risk because it's still worth the spot.
right.
Like you don't expect a person to be like, oh, I got to sit out this round, like I can't straddle.
Probably a
Yeah.
little different.
That's a
No,
little
I think
That's
it's
a little different. We're
Unless
talking
you're
about
Hellmuth's
doubling the
horse, then
stake.
he
This is
probably
something that
did.
has to be like
I don't know.
spoken
I
about
think it's
before.
not. I think
And
it's
you
still
just
I
have
mean, it
to
should
not-
be discussed.
Yeah, you just shouldn't be like neglected to the fact that the game's probably going to double.
And you don't want your horse sitting in there with 25 big
I don't know,
blinds or
man.
something.
My issue is the game. My issue is the game is still good enough for that spot to be worth it.
Yeah,
You
I've
put
been
it
in
the
plenty of
first
spots
place.
where I've sold action to a 100, 200 game that eventually was playing 501k, and I didn't feel any onus to like text everybody and be like, hey, the game tripled in size.
Yeah.
Like they
Right.
know the spot that they're in.
Right.
Yeah.
They know
And,
it's
like,
likely to happen.
There's still
there's-
massive EV attached to just having the seat.
Like I think
Yeah.
that there's a conversation to be had about obviously wanting to maybe increase exposure from the backing side, where it's like, oh, like if you want to take more of a piece. But
Yeah,
they
if
already-
you feel like you need to,
Right.
that's on you. If you feel
Exactly.
like you need more liquidity, then
Exactly. But like
you
in
do
that
so.
spot, the people that are backing you are expecting you to be winning in the spot, regardless of what the spot looks like. Some are more plus EV than
Yeah,
others.
I mean, there's definitely been times, I guess, where I've had the smallest portion of the piece, like where maybe I had like sub 30% or whatever in a game that was like maybe 501k to begin with, and then it doubled or tripled to like 2k, 4k or something like that. So now all of a sudden it's like sending a text of, hey, we only have X amount for this game, and we're at high risk of going broke. Like our risk of ruin here is very great. Do you guys still feel comfortable? But it's always the same thing. It's like, yeah, we were gambling to begin with. Like it wasn't like we sent you there with 20 buy-ins, even for the initial stake level. So it's like, okay, so our 4 buy-ins turned into 1. Whatever, the spot's still good, right? Question mark.
Most
It's
of
like,
the time, yeah. They have a number of max loss in their brain, but they do appreciate you reaching out.
Yeah.
But most of the time, they're just gonna be like, yeah, go. Like, it's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
There's obviously a difference in shot taking strategy, so to speak, when the game plays bigger and you have less buy-ins. But that's a different conversation for a different.
Yeah, they're not
time.
gonna. Yeah, of course, that's different. So
So we're not allowed to have babies anymore.
I
Or
heard.
actually,
Not allowed to have babies.
we're only allowed to have
Well,
babies.
first of all, I was already not allowed to have babies.
Oh yeah.
According
It is. The government's got your
according
back,
to Berkey,
Melissa.
Berkey has already forbidden me from having children.
I've been overridden apparently as documents have been leaked from the Supreme Court stating, or a draft, I suppose, of documents have been leaked from the Supreme Court stating that they are planning to overturn Roe versus Wade, which has been a pretty hot button issue. I know this has been threatened probably for the last political cycle, maybe political cycle and a half.
Yeah.
Basically, since
It was being threatened
since
when I
Trump
was
got in,
so I
essentially.
was taking like constitutional law in college, and we were talking about it then, and that was.
but it wasn't really a threat then, right? That was like 10 years ago? No, less.
A little less.
Like 4.
No, not 4.
During the Trump administration.
It was like 2016.
Okay. So like, yeah, I guess it would be closer to like 18 once there was an overturn in the Supreme Court where it started to go right. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Yeah, since Trump took over and then he appointed 3 justices, and obviously they were very far-leaning right. That's when it was the threat was essentially imminent. They said they were gonna. I mean, that's the reason Trump put them in this, appointed them to the Supreme Court. So, yeah, it's wild. I think the crazy part is that this got leaked, because that like
This wild is something got leaked. Yeah.
yeah, that like never happens.
Right. It's mega rare.
So we don't know exactly who leaked it. We think that it's probably someone on the left.
We kind of
right?
argued about this a little earlier pre-production, but we were saying, do we think that that's a charge? Like somebody that leaks that, should they be charged with a
Right.
crime?
We were saying, is that classified information? And I truly don't believe that it's a classified information thing. I think it's pretty much just that's the precedent they set.
Yeah. Well, go ahead. Keep talking.
Yeah,
It's
kind of like it's a unwritten rule of the Supreme Court. They're kind of like they're set to a higher standard, and they trust each other. And so they say, we're going to have these drafts. They're going to get passed around to all the justices, and we trust that nobody's going to leak them to the press or to some source. But this is one of the biggest decisions or overturnings in the Supreme Court in a long, long time. So I think maybe what happened was one of the justices on the left or one of their staffers leaked it as like a kind of like a Hail Mary pass to like, okay, this is going to get overturned. Let's just leak it, and maybe there'll be enough political
uproar,
pressure on one of the other justices to change their mind, which that's probably not going to happen. I'm sure it's
The reason I don't like to pay attention to stuff, and call me ignorant, but I just feel so manipulated every time I pay attention to any sort of news or politics. I just feel like I'm being manipulated they're trying to make me think something or fight with people over something, and I'm just
so
like,
much propaganda.
yeah,
on both
I'm just
sides,
like,
for sure.
I check out. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of an issue in the sense that this is mostly a socio-economical debate that's being now kind of positioned into a political / letter of the law debate, right? Because at the end of the day, like, abortions aren't going to go away nationwide. Just they're going to be taken down to the state level.
Extremely, extremely hard in certain parts of the country.
Right, exactly. So it's going to go down to the state level, and you're going to see most of the red states, if not all, put some sort of limitation or ban on it, which is going to largely target disenfranchised poor people and prevent them from being able to do anything.
Poor working class women are going to struggle the most.
Right. And we don't know to what degree, obviously, each state will address their law. Some may make exceptions for rape, some may not. But like, there are a lot of extreme cases here that can play out that are very tragic in nature. But the general populace is going to be largely fine, because the vast majority of affluent people, or even people of average to above average income, wealth, intelligence, whatever the case may be, they tend to gravitate towards major cities, major metropolises, and they tend to lean blue. Most of them are going to be in blue states.
Or they could just travel.
They also have the luxury of being able to travel.
Yeah, they'll be like, I gotta go away for 2 weeks, and or a week, or whatever, however long they need. They could just take that time.
I think there was also not exactly sure how it works, but like say like in places like New York, they're going to send up travel funds for people that are, that don't have the means to do it, which I guess will help in a way.
It'll help to some degree, but there's going to be a lot of other fallout that isn't necessarily anticipated. So a lot of these states are going to go letter of the law and are going to draw their line as purist, right? Purist type states. So you're going to see Plan B go by the wayside. You're going to see Planned Parenthood go by the wayside.
Are we sure about the Plan B thing?
Not across the board. It won't be sweeping, but I'm pretty certain that it's
just a high dose of birth control.
Yeah, but contraception is like
it's literally over the counter.
Well, it depends on where. Plan B is not over the counter.
No,
I mean,
not.
it is, but you have to show like ID and stuff like that.
No, you don't.
No, you can literally
You don't
get it on
need ID for Plan
DoorDash.
B. You can just get.
You can order it on DoorDash.
I'm not saying I'm an expert in Plan B, but I've gotten it a time or two, and it was like Mucinex.
When it first started, it was a little bit stricter. Now it's completely lax.
It's completely over.
Probably going to go the other direction again.
I don't know.
Most likely.
It just is so different from an abortion. Like it's.
So people are going to start stocking Plan B, like.
It's not an opinion, though. It's literally just birth control.
Right, but a lot of people state the case that life begins at contraception.
Right.
Conception, rather. Contraception.
Contraception.
Right. So the like when I say the purist, I mean the most conservative states. They're going to try to draw the line as close to conception
and now
as possible.
they'll have the ability and the right.
No more
the
DoorDash
right
Plan B.
Right. Brutal. I know.
Yeah.
Can't eat that shit like Tic Tacs.
I think I don't know
shit
if
makes me
Quavo
crazy.
can throw up that graphic, but like so
I'm already crazy,
there's I think 23 states already have what's called a trigger ban. So as soon as the Roe versus Wade gets overturned, which it should be maybe around in June, these laws are already passed. So it just as soon as it gets overturned, it goes into effect for these 23 states.
I want to know how many of these 23 states have something in line for rape cases and stuff like that.
A lot of them do not.
Yeah. Can I say
do
something?
not.
That's dog shit.
No exceptions for rape, incest, the health of the mother.
Right.
Which
It's
is
especially
wild,
impactful too in that
those are the most
Texas Oklahoma
extreme.
area because right now Texas has already initiated the ban. So there was a massive increase in Oklahoma abortions. But Oklahoma is one of the states that the second this becomes overturned, they enact a law that is anti-abortion.
Right. So I mean,
So you're talking a big populace.
A lot of these states
there.
have been trying to work around the law for a long time. You take a state like Kentucky, and they literally have one abortion clinic in the entire state. One.
Yeah. That's wild.
So it's just like, I mean,
That's a lot of lobbying and.
So should we
of
start
course.
a private abortion clinic in Kentucky? Is that a market gap that we want to fill?
It won't be in 2
You
months.
guys in? You in?
you
Business
have 2
partners?
months to do it.
Did you get a chance to read some of Alito's arguments, though?
Whose arguments? Sorry.
Alito, he's the justice that.
no.
That's the draft.
Yo,
that
some of
got
these
me.
arguments were pretty wild. Like, let me quote one of these arguments. One of his arguments is, some such supporters have been motivated by a desire to suppress the size of the African American population. It is beyond dispute that Roe has had a demographic effect. A highly disproportionate percentage of aborted fetuses are black.
That's an economical byproduct, not a racial one, in my opinion, anyway.
So that's a Democratic opinion?
No, that's his opinion.
No,
like
he's a conservative justice.
He's basically saying like, oh,
He's the one
stop.
that drafted the
Right. I think he's cherry picking data because I think if he also looked at the economics behind the majority of abortions, I would assume that it largely comes from people at or below the poverty line. And maybe I'm just making a poor assumption there.
Yeah, but those two things might go hand in hand anyway.
Yeah,
Right.
And that can be true, but the poverty seems to imply that it's the more important data point, right? Because it's not necessarily selected based on race. If you're poor, you're just more likely to, or you're more prone, right? Because lack of contraception, inability to basically escape or be safer about sex and things along the basically opportunity cost, right? There's just a lot of opportunity that is taken away from those who are impoverished, and it results in just more unwanted pregnancy.
And the poor get poorer.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like in general, barring a nationwide ban, which is very unlikely to happen, I would assume, but it does kind of set the precedence to move the ball that way. But barring like a federal ban of abortion where suddenly it is considered murder, you're just going to see impoverished people really suffer. Like the implication here that somehow
well, he's kind of making an argument of like, well, we don't want to like, because abortions are coming from this African American community, black community, if we stop that, then there'll be more of these people and they'll do better.
That's the opposite.
But it's
a very
wild
usually
argument.
It's a clear opposite. You have two people that have had having a child. They can't afford this child. Now we're going to hold these.
Right.
Well, the argument is there's just they can do like a no questions asked drop off at the hospital instead of like just aborting the child. That's the argument.
Because that's good for their mental health.
We're obviously going to have to see like a big improvement in the way adoption's handled in this country, because right now we're just kind of like overrun with orphans. Maybe overrun's overstated, but like we don't exactly have the best adoption system in place. It's very, very, very difficult to adopt.
Yeah, it is. Very difficult. Right.
And yeah, it's like, you know, you could say that the overwhelming majority of people getting abortions are black people, but it's like, okay, well, if we also look at...
I don't think it's the overwhelming. I think they're saying
the simple majority.
Disproportionately.
Yeah, right. But it's also disproportionate for people or minorities like populating projects in ghettos and things of that
course,
nature, right?
yeah.
So it's like, it's clearly an economical issue.
Right.
I mean, I think that's
and
like...
a lot of time it's someone who already has a child, right? They have a child, and there might be a single mother, and then they get pregnant again, and now, you know, it's like they're having trouble supporting the first child, and now they have to support the second child, which could argue against that. That would be, you know, it's going to make life harder on the child that is already born.
Yeah, I mean, you know, whatever. Like, I don't think we're in any place to speak on women's reproductive rights.
Right.
But
I have a question.
Wait, what?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
If you guys could suck your own dick, would you swallow?
Depends. Is it against the law?
No.
Oh.
Scared.
It is yours.
Always scared.
It's your own stuff. Would you be curious? Have you tried it?
No.
Wait,
No,
it's
man.
It's like that
No.
episode of Succession where the girl's talking.
I think it's like trying to tickle
and then
yourself.
she spits it back in his mouth, and he's like, "Well, I swallowed it, so it's not cheating because it went back inside."
Ah.
It's just uncomfortable.
I'm not sure I would.
This is an uncomfortable.
Like, if you
conversation.
spit up in the air,
Stop it.
would you catch it
No, come on.
in your mouth?
Yeah, why not? I mean, why would you
would you
spit
do
up
that
in
in
the
the
air
first
anyway?
place?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, to kind of draw a parallel here.
Why
as
do
best
we like
can.
coming in certain body parts? Like, that's kind of weird, right?
I don't know. You guys
all
tell me.
manufactured from
You-
watching porn.
Congratulations.
It's kind of weird.
Congratulations.
I
You
did
fucking
it.
did
I
it.
told they were like, "Can we please stop talking about politics?" I'm like, "Hold on, I'm gonna derail
It's so
it."
funny you guys say that, because our numbers went up when we were talking about politics.
No,
and we
they
just
went
lost
down.
35 people.
We went down.
No, it didn't. We were at 650.
We were at like more than that before that.
We were not. I promise. I
All
was
right,
watching
guys,
very closely.
press 1 if you'd like to talk about politics. Press 2 if you'd like to not.
Not even a second option, just not.
No option, just the very broad fucking not.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, whatever. It's.
I mean, it's a pretty big topic. So
It's
just like,
huge.
yeah,
It's
just
huge.
Like,
This
to
is-
not say anything about
This
it.
is a massive thing to happen in our lifetimes. Like,
Yeah.
this is the equivalent of our parents seeing, you know, the 14th Amendment being afforded to minorities and women, and you know, a lot of equality things. This is the equivalent of us seeing gay marriage get overturned and equal rights being presented for transgenders and homosexuals.
Some people will say that there's a big step back, right? It's almost as if they took away gay marriage again and things like this. It's like, wow, okay, like.
Well, I think the biggest problem with reversing Roe versus Wade is it's not addressing the underlying issue, which is where are we considering life, right? And instead, it's just pushing that onto the state level and saying, you guys decide where
and
we consider it to be
it
a life.
it also goes to, like, if you look at the population as a whole, the vast majority of people support Roe versus Wade. I mean, it's like 65-35. a third of Republicans support it.
Well, it
right?
depends
So
on
that's-
it depends on how you word the. I was actually reading about this earlier
Right,
today.
right. I'm just saying the
It depends
support
on how you
Roe
word it.
versus Wade. Right. When you, yeah, of course. Like if you're talking about like late term abortion, and you're talking about
versus
15 weeks. When you talk about adding, like you said, rape and incest and the health of the mother.
I guess the issue that
the
I'm
numbers
coming up.
change, but overall the general.
It's always going to
overall-
be the simple majority is in support, right?
Right. So it's essentially overturning the will of the people, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of against what we
the
stand for.
Constitution. Yeah, in a lot of ways.
Yeah. But that happens a lot. I mean,
yeah, and it's tough to think that it's not like political strategy in some regard, right? Like
it's
not
funny.
much has happened socially to
This is going to help the Democrats.
sort
in the midterms. I'm talking
Sort of, yeah, but they still can't win the midterms. They're at such a huge deficit with how the last 2 years have gone. They're still going to take a bath.
Most likely, but like.
But that's why it's a good
it
time
might
for
shift in some way because I mean, like how take someone or like Biden, he won because like suburban women came out to vote for him.
Yeah.
Right. So like now are they going to come out again? Because
Yeah, but what are they
this
going to do?
happened?
Like it's hard. Like these justices are in their seats. What are you going to do?
right, like electing
like
another
just-
Democratic president doesn't somehow get Roe versus Wade.
Yeah, but we're emotional people, and people vote on their emotions a lot of time, and if they're emotionally charged, a subject like this can bring people to the polls.
I think you're right in the sense that it is going to show a positive benefit.
I'm with you. I
think it's
still think I
unlikely.
still think the Democrats are going to get crushed.
Yeah, I think
in
it's
the midterms.
unlikely that it's
I
going to
do,
sway things,
right.
and that's why it's good timing. And what I was trying to say is that this is clearly, in my mind anyway, a political strategy where it's a free roll for Republicans to pay back or to pay homage to the religious zeitgeist of their party that have been pushing this narrative for a very long time. Because the fact of the matter is, socially, nothing has happened in the last 47 years to make us somehow believe that abortion got worse. Right? When the precedent was set in
If they're going to
73.
do this, they should at least wait until that male birth control comes out.
I mean, again, like I think that there's a high
Or is
probability.
that bad too?
Well, I think there's a high probability in like truly like what am I trying to get at?
Time
like
to get
purist
snipped,
states.
boys. Get those
deep
snips
red
in.
states,
Yeah, like deep red
snips in
states.
the
I could
chat.
see like like do you think it
Bible
could get to a
Belt
point where
states.
they disallow vasectomies in their state?
What?
I would think yeah.
Come on.
Why does everybody gotta think their pullout game is strong?
It's hard to get a girl pregnant.
It is.
It's hard.
It is.
Depends
There's
what
only
week it
there's
is,
only
right?
Well, there's a lot of things that have to come to
there's only a certain period
we're
of
good?
time in the month that
Alright.
you can get
I'm gonna
pregnant.
try
right.
tonight.
It has to be when girls are ovulating. You have to be sloppy with
the pullout game?
With your
The
pullout
pullout game
game.
has to be sloppy.
What's that?
Pullout game has to be sloppy, and you have to be ovulating. So
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, it's
So
a
their
real.
pullout game's not strong. They're just like it's just set up for success.
And some women are just or some women and men are just really fertile.
I remember I was dating this girl that I was like, okay, let's bring this full circle to the original
Landon just
conversation.
whispers, "Congrats on the
So
sex."
I had a crush on this girl for like a year. We finally we finally like, started hanging out, and she was great, like just great. But
In that whole year, were you talking to other girls? Or
Yeah,
Yeah,
were
of
you
course.
double dipping? Were you triple dipping?
That
were
whole
you
year-
doing the what do we call this thing? The double check?
okay, listen,
Discount
that whole
double
year,
check.
I didn't think I stood a fucking chance.
See,
It was.
You got to keep your
Why
expectations
are
low.
you guys so horny?
I'll give the full story.
Whoa,
all right.
whoa.
Wait, why are we horny? What are you
Let's
talking
not-
about?
what? But he's like, whoa.
Why
I'm
do you have to?
never horny.
Why do you have to?
No.
Why do you have to bang so many girls?
Never been horny before.
Becoming such great friends with Melissa has opened me up to a new understanding of the female
Anatomy?
brain, and it is not what I originally thought. So
What
I've
is
learned a
different
lot
about
here.
it?
It's a
What's
scary
What
place.
insight do you have?
Pass.
What is happening?
Good answer.
Yep.
So
I love my friends.
this girl,
All you have is friends.
Listen, man, that's all I need. Sometimes.
Only friends.
Only friends.
Only
friends.
friends.
this girl was
Hurts.
my massage therapist for like a year. So I didn't dare cross the line, and we would mostly just text to like set up appointments and things like that. But eventually, she just kind of got too busy and stopped massaging me. So I was like, what the fuck? You know, she was really great at what she did.
She got busy with the boys.
What? Who's horny now?
That's
Who's horny now?
strike one.
No. I mean,
Copium.
it was a callback.
So
she's out with her girls.
she was neither of those things. So I texted her one day and said, you know, we're starting a co-ed softball team. Would you like to play? And she was like, yeah, that'd be great. Yada, yada, yada. She's like, we should go to the batting cages. First of all, I know batting cages is always a date. If a girl wants to go to the batting cages, 100% a date.
You're a pitcher.
And I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds like fun.
I'm sorry. If
So
a guy
we-
takes me to batting cage, it's fucking over.
That's because
She suggested it.
You're not a
She
sports lady.
suggested it, you dumb person.
She didn't know your friends.
She didn't know
You
it
not
was a
insult your
pitcher.
friends.
She's not listening.
You
She
don't
gets the
insult your
insult.
friends. No,
She gets the
Do not
insult.
degrade
Rude.
women. Not today, Burke.
not today.
Yeah, come on. You guys already wrecked me.
Berkey's
He's
just
I'm
like,
not
I play
degrading women.
baseball.
I'm degrading idiots.
degrading me. It's different. It's different.
It's way different.
Did she
So-
work at the Venetian? What the fuck is happening in this?
So we start chatting a little bit more. We start chatting a little bit more, and it becomes clear that like this is going to be a date. So we set it up or whatever. We go on the date, and I ask her like, you know, why did you stop booking
Massaging
my
me?
massage appointments? And she's like, why do you think? And I'm like, I have no idea. She's like, I liked you. I'm like, oh, okay, weird way of letting me know. So
Well, conflict of interest, is that a thing? I know it is with
but like,
therapists.
you know, be a little more explicit. I'm a fucking idiot. I don't think I'm like
Berkey was tipping well on the steak.
You're like, why doesn't she want to massage me anymore?
I wasn't at a table.
I know.
So
Wow,
we start
man.
dating. She's fantastic. But to give you an insight of how the male brain works, once we started having sex, which was phenomenal,
Congrats on
she
the sex,
goes,
bro.
I don't believe in birth control. And
Okay.
already I'm just kind of like, okay. As in, like, you think it's a myth? Or is it you don't
Doesn't
want
wanna
to use
take
it?
it?
And she's like, I don't use it. I don't put anything
Yeah.
in my body
That's how I am,
foreign or whatever. I'm like,
for what it's worth.
okay. And then she goes, so we're going to operate on the rhythm method, which is like paying attention to her cycle.
Oh, no. That's not good.
And I freaked
Yeah,
out.
that's not good.
It was over from that day
Yeah.
forward. It was just like, this girl wants to get pregnant. She wants to anchor baby me. She's going to, I'm out. I'm fucking out.
Is that what it's called, anchor baby?
Yeah.
There we go.
Is that? No.
Yeah. So I end up like ending things.
I'm scared.
They make up
Ew.
these terms on the fly.
I'm
I just
so
want you to
scared.
know. I've never heard
Where's
any
the
of these
textbook?
terms.
Anchor baby. He has one of those
Like,
terms.
dude,
guys
So,
actually
for what it's worth, I did know about the anchor baby.
No,
term.
anchor bird is a term, but I don't think
Okay.
it's
Anchor
used
baby
correctly.
is a thing.
Yeah, but that's not what it means.
It's when a girl's trying to like.
What do you
lock-
think it means?
Yeah, what do you think it means? When are you having a baby?
Isn't it anchor baby when
Don't say isn't.
No,
it?
isn't that
Just-
a thing when you want your baby to have citizenship? So you
Yeah,
have,
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you
that's-
come
that
over. You
is
come
what-
over.
That
yeah,
sounds way
you're
more-
pregnant. You're pregnant,
I'm
and you
starting
come
to think
and then you come
Lamanna's
over
the
and
only
have
normal
and then- and
person
have
in
the
this
baby in
No,
America.
Anchor
I
baby
wouldn't-
means
yeah,
that you were
go.
trying to anchor yourself to that person through a commitment.
Yeah,
No,
that's
no,
what
Maybe
I'm wrong.
started on
it's
the
the
bigger
rat's
picture
wrong.
first.
Anchor baby is
as
when-
in
yeah,
the
exactly.
United
They're
States.
operating on the
Same.
fuckboy
The chat
dictionary.
is saying it's for
Maybe-
citizenship.
Yeah, of course. Of
Matt, I
course,
think
that's what
this was
it's
on the
for.
league, and they called it anchor
Yes.
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
No.
No, you may be right in some
I'm
weird,
not-
strange
no,
word.
no. You may be right in some way. I'm 100% right. That's what it is.
You're right.
You're using it in a loose, random.
What
way.
Yeah,
about what you're
exactly.
saying is an anchor?
What?
What about what you're saying is
baby
an
is
anchor?
The baby
child.
anchors
To bring the mother over
Yes.
to that for
For
citizenship.
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 Yeah,
But
but
an
like, what's
anchor
it
means you're
anchoring to?
The
United
mother.
States.
The
state,
country,
or
the
anchor-
country.
The mother, the baby is anchoring to the states. Yeah.
What do we have? What is it? You know what? I want to read it. I'm going to read it for everybody.
Non-citizen
Yeah, go ahead and
mother.
read it.
Anchor baby is a term regarded by some as a
Okay, now get off of Wikipedia and go to
Urban Dictionary.
Urslang.com.
Yeah.
It's
go to Urban Dictionary because
I
that's
think
the
it's a bad
word
angle to
Urban
read
Dictionary.
from.
That's where you
And
wanna
also
go.
talking to the microphone. I'm sorry.
Either way,
guys.
we get what you're saying though. Like it's just like she's trying to like.
He's trying
get
to
you on the
commitment
hook.
bond you.
Yeah.
It's when like.
That
By
sounds
the way,
good. Okay,
by the
I
way,
know this.
3 months later, pregnant. 6 months later, married.
Exactly.
Well, this is what my
Probably
mom
to
did
a
to my
baseball
dad.
player.
Yep.
Just saying. No, not to baseball player.
My mom did that to my dad. She trapped him.
Yeah, anchor
Yeah.
baby.
Tart.
It's fucking a trap.
baby.
This is what goes through our heads the second we start having sex.
Yeah.
911.
How am I being trapped?
That bitch was crazy
Kobe
too.
got trapped. Kobe got trapped hard, bro.
It
Yeah.
was expensive.
That was an expensive
You
trap.
set the tarp.
We get trapped, but only if you got money. If you don't.
Yeah, no, my dad had money and he totally got trapped by her.
See.
No, it's
Bitch was
so
crazy.
you're talking about our double check and we can't even.
Well, she's a different breed though. It's that woman.
Okay, let me tell you, she's not.
She is. She was.
And also, it's not just about money. You could be poor and still get trapped.
No, you can't.
Very
no, you
easily.
Can't. No, you can't. No, you can't.
Of course you can.
No, you can't.
You ain't never lived in
How
the
many?
hood.
All right, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Before you had money versus when you had money, when you had more women.
Oh.
Well, it's different.
No, it's not different.
Yeah, there's
It's
a
not
huge difference
different.
between 21 and 32.
You know how much more?
Nah, it's probably different because of who he was at the time.
Yeah, at 21, like I was barely dating.
I have money. Where's my women?
He's like
I got money. Where's my women at?
It's age is
All
just
right,
as much of a difference.
ladies, if you're looking for a nice man with money,
I gave people 10K. Apparently, it doesn't come back. So I mean,
Hey, yeah, if you're looking to drop that anchor,
Listen, you don't get
there's-
trapped if you're broke. There's nothing to trap.
No, that's not. I was dead broke in
Fuck outta
2012,
here.
and I went on 100 first dates. I was getting plenty of girls.
Yeah, how many second and third and fourth
That's
dates?
just because they suck. That's because I was ducking out of the trap.
If you're getting trapped, is like the 7th date. Like that's
Christian,
not
you
first
can
date.
emotionally trap them.
No, you only get trapped if you have money or like. Listen,
You're
man.
so antiquated.
what if you have really
Antiquated.
good
These
dick
girls are
game?
trapping every basketball player. There's literally websites that are like, oh, this basketball player's in Miami. Go to the club, girls. Like, yo,
there
this
is
is
no. And
crazy.
I will
What is
say,
wrong
but
with
but
y'all?
I will say,
Baller alert.
just,
That's what I think it's called. Literally called balleralert.com or some shit. Like, if there's any ballers in your city,
Any
like, you
ballers
go
in the
there,
clubs.
like, and just like try to trap them. Like, why y'all?
I will
act like you're
say,
so innocent. I'm doing
just
every
like-
double check forever.
You're doing a triple double check because you're a baller.
The fuck? I'm not saying I'm a baller. I'm just saying that this shit happens and everyone's
does.
acting like it don't
No,
happen.
it does. And just like you guys don't speak for all males because you speak for a specific fuckboy population,
I don't.
those women
I'm
do
just
not
putting it
speak
out there.
for all women. We're not all looking to go trap people.
We've discussed this. I am not a fuckboy.
Yeah, we have discussed it, and you are a fuckboy.
No, I'm not.
Boys only.
Yeah, fuck boys only in that corner.
Wow, let's get a new tapestry.
Fuckboys are manipulative and are selling a lie in order to get sex.
I don't know what you say on those dates.
I don't say shit. I don't say shit.
Let's go, dude.
And my close rate is like 2%. 100 first dates?
What's your close rate, Melissa? How about that? Close rate 99.
It's not 100.
Yeah, 99.
If NBA 2K character closing ability, 99.
Maybe 99.
Oh, this is the realest podcast.
Maybe
again.
99.
This is the realest.
I got to get out of here. I can't do this anymore. Guys, it's been fun. I appreciate all of you.
A trap
Funny, our
house.
numbers have spiked again. Who would have thought?
It's a trap house.
We'll be back tomorrow. Same
up for the
time, same
Academy.
place, 1 p.m. For those of you interested, head to our site. We have a new episode of Poker Out Loud up, solveforwhy.io. Thank you guys as always. Like, subscribe, leave a comment below if you've been trapped.
Leave a comment
double
below
check.
if you are a wholesome man like Brian Lamanna who
Thank
does
you.
not subscribe to the fuckboy code of conduct.
Thank you.
I did nothing.
I'm not I'm pointing at that corner, not you.
There's a clear FBC.
This is why men are not. This is why men are not truthful.
If she didn't, yeah, exactly. You're 100% right. If she didn't know Lamanna and was just fed his profile, she'd be like, beta male simp shit.
Yeah.
That's all she'd say.
No.
Like, I've been around
No, I
her
wouldn't.
enough. I know how this goes.
I never
Maybe she
say
should just
beta
get to know
male
guys
simp.
a little more then.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not beta male simp. It's just simp.
It's all three.
Lamanna's not a simp.
No,
Yeah,
man.
or,
Not to you because you know him. But if he showed
I
up in
guess
your
Michelle
comment
would say
sections
she's a-
trying to
Michelle
woo
would
you
say
with
he's a
glory,
Yeah, all of a sudden, like, I really
Okay.
Yo, put those glasses on. That's a bad bitch right there. That's a bad bitch.
like a beta male.
Listen, I don't know who beta male
Time out,
simping out
bro.
here.
You look like
No.
looks like guy with wears a cloth on
every
his.
time you try to like look.
Can I get those glasses?
I'm not suggesting that men hit on me. I'm saying please speak for your population
Listen,
if you are not
all right,
a
if
fuckboy.
like a really nice man approaches you with
No
and
such-
tries to
first
talk,
of all, no
you're
such
turning
thing.
him down.
First of all, no
you're
such
turning
thing.
him down. But when there's a guy that probably you like damn, his roster must be strong. Let me try to
no,
try to
that
be
means
number
he's
one.
ran through.
No,
Probably got
let's end this
fucking
podcast. We
moldy
have
ass
to have a
dick.
conversation
Everybody take
after
a-
this podcast ends.
we're playing a
Because
game.
half the shit that really is being said is just
Just
not
take a
the game of
Take a
simp.
look at Landon
Wait,
tonight.
we're
Take a
playing
look
a
at
game.
Landon.
We're playing a game of simp or not
Yep.
simp.
Take a-
Ready?
Sim.
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 I'll tell you what.
That's fair.
He's fucking tonight.
That's really good.
He's
Yeah.
fucking tonight.
That's triple.
Maybe in Florida you're fucking tonight, not in Vegas.
Give him that Ed Hardy
Miami,
shirt.
yeah. Stop fucking.
Fortunately, I don't have to worry about that.
Man.
All right, we gotta go. It's a
Let's
hockey
go.
night in Pittsburgh tonight. Pens versus
let's
Rangers.
go,
4 p.m.
We're down bad right now.
We're gonna see a first round victory. Same time, same place tomorrow, 1 p.m. We'll see you guys then.
Let's go Rangers.
Peace.